Testing. Good morning, everybody. We're just about to get started. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your patience. We do have quorum. We'll get started momentarily. Just a reminder to everyone that we are recording today. We are recording the WebEx link. We're also recording on YouTube. You're welcome to watch along on YouTube, but no participation via YouTube. I will explain more about that later. But welcome. Thank you for joining the Probation Oversight Commission this morning.
Okay. Good morning. It is 9:12, Thursday, August 14th, 2025, and I am calling to order the meeting of the Los Angeles Probation Oversight Commission. I am Eduardo Mundo, Chair of the Commission. Welcome. We look forward to hearing from our panelists, commissioners, and the public today on several important issues, including POC reports, an update on the plan for Campus Kilpatrick, a presentation and motion about probation's visitation policies and practices, and updates on probation's adult field services. Here for probation today we will have Deputy Director Jocelyn Roman, Deputy Director Alex Nieto, and Senior Director Kim Binion. A busy meeting, so let's get started. I will turn it over to Wendy Julian, our Executive Director, to explain how you can participate during today's meeting, and then she will call the roll.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Mundo. And I'd just like to start today with a shout out to our friends here at St. Anne's where we hold these meetings. It's such a lovely place. We welcome you to come and join us in person. We have our meetings here, and very thankful to the staff and the young people who live here who are always so welcoming to us. As always, we encourage real public participation in our meeting. We welcome your comments in writing or live today, either here in person or virtually. You'll have an opportunity to comment on every agenda item, and then at the end of the meeting for any items that relate to our commission but are not on the agenda. For the items on the agenda, Chair Mundo will introduce the item, we'll hear any presentation, the commission will have some discussion, we'll announce whether there are any motions or actions, and then we'll take public comment before the commission takes any action on the item. If there are more people who want to participate today than we have time for, we may consider scheduling additional town halls for specific issues. Also, please remember to both public commenters and panelists and commissioners to speak directly into the microphones so that our virtual attendees can hear you clearly. For today, I'd like to share the following code of conduct. Please stop speaking immediately when your time ends so that I don't have to interrupt you. Please make sure your public comment relates to the subject matter of the item. Remain respectful of each other and the forum. Any person engaging in conduct that disrupts the meeting is subject to being removed from the meeting. If you're here in person, participating is easy. Just walk up to the podium. If you joined via WebEx or via phone on the WebEx, please use the raise your hand function to join the list of public commenters. You can do this on WebEx by tapping the little hand icon during the item and we'll add you to the list. If you're calling in and want to comment, please press *3 on your phone. That activates the raise hand feature for us and we'll call on you with your phone number. You then must press *6 to unmute yourself and begin your comment. If you have any technical questions, please send a chat to the host and they will be happy to help you. All commenters will have 2 minutes today unless Chair Mundo determines otherwise based on the number of folks sign up for each item. You're also more than welcome to make your comment in writing by sending us an email to info@poc.lacounty.gov. We've received a number of written comments for this meeting that were distributed to commissioners before the meeting, and all the comments that are received before 5 p.m. today will be linked to the agenda. Our meeting is being broadcast live and recorded on our YouTube channel, but you can't engage on YouTube. But we do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's lots more than just the meeting recordings there. There are also lots of short videos, and we often post videos from other meetings that are related to our work. You can also follow our social media on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at LA County POC. Please continue to attend our meetings and invite your friends. Buenos días, bienvenidos. Ya hemos iniciado la conferencia por WebEx y también en persona, también vía YouTube. Si le gustaría hacer un comentario público durante el tópico que estamos que estamos hablando puede nomás usar la manita, que es un botón en la parte baja de la pantalla, y le abriremos su micrófono. Si está escuchando la conferencia por teléfono y quiere hacer una pregunta, tiene que presionar estrella 3 y le avisaremos cuando sea su turno, llamándole por su número de teléfono. Si está viendo la conferencia en vivo por YouTube, no se puede hacer comentario público, tiene que conectar vía WebEx. Nosotros podemos proveer traducción. Si quiere hacer su comentario en español, tendrá el doble del tiempo y nosotros le podemos traducir al inglés o usted puede proveer su propio traductor. Bienvenidos, gracias por acompañarnos y gracias. I am going to call the roll. Commissioners, please respond when I call your name. Commissioner Dolores Canales will be joining us momentarily, and we will make that noted in the minutes when she arrives. Commissioner Brooke Harris is excused today. Commissioner Ishay Jackson, excused. Commissioner Millie Kakani. Present. Commissioner Don Meredith is present. Commissioner Sam Prater is excused today. Commissioner Tyreek Ship. Commissioner Diane Terry. And Chair Eduardo Mundo.
Present.
So with 5 members present and 1 on the way, we have quorum, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Wendy. Let's proceed with item 2, the approval of the July 24th regular meeting minutes. Wendy, do we have any written public comments or live public comments for item 2?
No written public comments about the minutes. Anybody want to make public comments about the minutes?
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the July 24th regular meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Connie makes a motion. Can I have a second?
A second.
Commissioner Ship. Are there any changes to the minutes? Hearing none, commissioners, please vote with a voice vote. Aye. Thank you. With that done, we are going to move to item number 3. For agenda item number 3, we will discuss and take possible action on updates from the Los Angeles County Probation Oversight Commission on Dorothy Kirby Center Inspection Report, Education Ad Hoc Committee Report, and the POC's second quarter KPI report. Wendy, please proceed with your updates.
Thank you. I'm not going to talk very long about the Dorothy Kirby Center report because we have decided to hold an inspections town hall next month where we go over a number of the inspections that have been completed and share the results and the findings and the recommendations. Although I do encourage everyone to take a look at the inspections report. It's already on our website at poc.lacounty.gov on the reports page. If you scroll down about halfway, you'll get to the section where the inspections are. I'd like to say thank you to all the commissioners who participated in that inspection and to Dr. Gongora and her team for putting the inspection notes together. You'll see, I think, that the inspection is overall very positive. Our experience that day at Dorothy Kirby Center, which is typical of visits to Dorothy Kirby Center, showed a lot of really impressive rehabilitative efforts for the young people who had the opportunity to be there at that facility. There are a few recommendations. We did not receive any feedback from probation about the inspection, although I did have the opportunity to speak to a couple of folks from probation who have read the report and indicated to me that they have already taken action on some of the recommendations in the report. So hopefully we'll be able to share more about that at our inspections town hall. The reason this is on the agenda today is to ask the commissioners to vote to finalize this inspection report so that we can send it to the BSCC, the board, and the public as our final inspection report for Dorothy Kirby Center. Secondly, there is a document attached, which is our key performance indicators for community engagement. As I say every meeting, community engagement is, I think, the primary role of the Probation Oversight Commission and always has been. And I'm very proud of the work that we do in that area in terms of how many people attend these meetings in person and virtually, especially, and then how many people watch the meetings after the meetings occur, and also in the factual and helpful nature of the information that the Probation Oversight Commission puts out in terms of reports and educational media. And so thanks to our communication team under the leadership of Ismael Chinchilla for the work that they've done. And I think the KPI, the key performance indicator report, just shows the levels of that engagement and how this is really working in terms of being a civilian-led body that engages the public to find and promote better solutions for probation reform, as was originally intended by the Board of Supervisors. So we'll continue to publish those reports, and that's all I have for today.
Okay. Regarding the Educational Ad Hoc Committee, we met with probation and with a representative from OICR and with a couple of representatives from the Rising Scholars. We also had the opportunity to meet with the San Luis Obispo County of Education's lead team with regards to how they provide post-secondary education in their county and Alameda County. And granted, I completely understand that the demographics are different, but there were elements that we're seeing that would work in LA County, or at least should be considered in LA County to make it more of a seamless service to be provided to kids. So we're going to continue to meet and continue to try to get all the parties involved in trying to get services in a manner that is just more efficient, and it moves kids along a little quicker. It's been a little frustrating seeing that something so simple as education and service providing is so difficult for numerous reasons. But other than that, we're moving along. So that's my report on the ad hoc. And so, commissioners, do you have questions or comments about the KPI report, Education Ad Hoc Committee report, or the upcoming inspections at Town Hall? I guess we covered it all. Hearing none, I would like to make a motion to accept the attached AKC inspection report as presented. Can I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Terry seconds. Okay, commissioners, do you have any comments about the DK inspection report specifically before we hear public comment and vote? Commissioner Kokani.
Thank you. I just wanted to lift up the last key finding and recommendation that feels worthy of lifting up. I know that sometimes it's hard to read these reports and to make sense of them, but the last recommendation is that Dorothy Kirby Center may not be using the least restrictive setting for girls' disposition to Dorothy Kirby Center camp. And just like reviewing the Welfare and Institutions Code and the requirement that young people be placed in the least restrictive setting, which means, I think, for young folks who are dispositioned to camp, that they have a little more freedom of movement. Just, again, a different set of like abilities, rights, freedoms. I don't know how to refer to it. And the fact that there are some young girls and gender expansive youth who don't have access to that because the department has decided to house, again, young folks who are placed at Dorothy Kirby Center, young folks who are placed or dispositioned to camp at Dorothy Kirby Center, and young folks who are dispositioned to SYTF at Dorothy Kirby Center, like requires them to kind of restrict the movement of the young folks that are dispositioned to camp there. I know that was wildly complicated, but I don't know, upon plain reading, it seems in violation of the law. So just wanted to lift that piece up, that it feels like something that the department should pay attention to.
Thank you. I asked Dr. Gongora to come up to say more about that, except for you maybe said what she was going to say. So we don't need to say more if that's.
I don't know that I said it very well or that it was I don't know if there's more that you wanted to add.
I can say that some of the interviews that we had specifically for the people who supervise the girls in DKC camp. So again, not placement, not SYTF, but the camp. There was discussion about how supervision looked like when the girls actually were at a separate dedicated camp, in that there were opportunities for staff to keep the doors open at all times. They would allow girls who maybe were having a difficult moment, or maybe had had a difficult day or a difficult visit or something at court. They would allow them to have time to be able to access outdoors freely. And some of those staff members had said, being at Dorothy Kirby Center with all of us here in the corner, we have to be mindful of the supervision needs of everybody else. And so we're not able to allow the girls that ability to come and go in the same way that we would when we had our dedicated facility. And so that did seem important to lift up, especially in light of future plans for the housing of girls altogether and mixing different populations that have different supervision needs.
Thank you. Commissioners? Director Binion, is the camp at Dorothy Kirby still referred to as Camp Scott?
No, we refer to it as Dorothy Kirby Camp.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, no further comments or questions from the commissioners. Wendy, do we have any public comment written or live?
We did not receive any written public comment on this, but for those who are just joining, we are taking a vote on a motion to accept the Dorothy Kirby Center inspection as presented and attached to the agenda. So if anyone would like to give public comment on the Dorothy Kirby inspection, you're welcome to do so now in person or online by raising your hand, or if you're on the phone by dialing *3. I don't see anybody in the room who wishes to give public comment, and we don't have anybody online. I'll give it just 1 minute because sometimes there's a little delay. Okay.
Okay, unless there are further questions or comments, Wendy, please call the roll for the vote.
Okay, thank you. We are taking a vote on accepting the Dorothy Kirby inspection as final, and that was moved by Commissioner Mundo and seconded by Commissioner Terry. Please vote yes, no, or abstain. Commissioner Canales?
Yes.
Commissioner Kakani?
Yes.
Commissioner Meredith? Yes. Commissioner Shipp?
Yes.
Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
And Chair Mundo.
Great, yes.
So with 3 commissioners absent, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, item number 4 requires the presence of Ms. Rahman. So unless there's any objections, I will move on to item number 5. Or should we do item number 6?
6.
I can speak a little to 4.
Maybe we should just do, I'm just thinking we can wait and skip it around. And
Yeah,
start with-
we're okay. We're flexible.
It's 6.
So we're going to move to item number 6.
The only thing I'll ask is we do that, this is the item that has the PowerPoint. If we could pull the PowerPoint up, please.
All
And
right.
the PowerPoint is attached to the agenda, I think. If not, it will be.
Ready? For agenda item 6, we will discuss and take possible action on an update on probation's adult field services, including numbers of clients currently being served, staffing levels in field offices, impacts of continued deployment on field services, and successes and challenges in the field. We will hear from Executive Director Wendy Julian first, followed by Acting Deputy Director Alex Neto. Wendy?
I actually don't have anything to say other than that as I said, the PowerPoint is attached to the agenda. And also there may be some questions from commissioners based on another document that is the Division of Field Services and Caseloads, which is also attached to the agenda, except that is attached to the agenda under item number 7, just for the public if you're looking for it. So with that, I will turn it over to Deputy Director Nieto, and thank you for being here this morning.
Good morning. It's coming up.
This is it, right?
Yeah, I don't. There we go. Okay, answer to some of your questions. There are 17,573 clients being served by our adult core, and we have 74 deputies supervising them in the field right now. I don't want to know if you want me to jump to AB 109 right now or do that separately. I can.
Maybe a full report, then we just can go back and ask questions,
Okay.
please.
Okay, with AB 109, we have 4,227 and 43 deputies working for them, supervising them. We could turn the next, there you go. Okay, so for core, we have 11% vacancies, 2% full duty staff. That means they're on the line working with the clients. We have 35%, that's 92 staff working in juvenile hall from core, full duty staff, and 137 on leave and restrictions. Now, as I talked to Ms. Kakani earlier, that 137 encompasses 13 staff that have medical restrictions that keep them from doing anything for the department in the field or in juvenile hall. There are 68 staff that are on not modified duty in the field working with the clients at the field offices. And then there are 56 staff officers that are on home accommodation. They are at home utilizing their benefit time. Okay.
Can
Go
you just
ahead.
repeat that breakdown again?
Sure. So you got 137 on leave restrictions. That's the green piece of the pie there. Of that number, you got 68 that are working in the field office on a 90-day contract. You got 56 at home, 56 staff at home because they're on restricted duty. They're the staff that get called back for 90-day assignments. And then you have 13 staff that are been deemed by their doctor that they cannot do anything in juvenile hall or in the field.
For somebody who doesn't understand that concept, the 90 days off, 90 days on, what's the underpinnings of that? What's the logic or the reasoning for not just letting them 100% be at work?
I think that's a question for the chief. This is mandates coming from executive board and mainly the chief.
Okay, so it's a decision, not
Yes.
a HR policy.
It's in conjunction with HR, the way they do it. And I want to clarify, they do 90 days in the office, and then it's not necessarily 90 days at home. It could be more, it could be less. And that's run by HR as far as how long they're out and when they come back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so for AB 109, if we could, well, let's go to the next. Okay, that's the supervisors. That's the next slide. Okay, so for supervisors in core, we have 8 vacancies. Let's go back. There we go. 8 vacancies, 36 full-duty staff, 16 full-duty staff, 3 deployed staff, and 17 staff on leave restrictions, which is, again, you would combine medically disabled, 90 days modified, and home accommodations. Basically the same criteria as the field. The only difference being is there's no 90-day assignments for supervisors.
So just for us that, well, for me, I've never done adult, and for the viewers, what is the difference between an AB 109 and a core person that is being supervised by probation?
AB 109 are post-release. They are released from state prison. They are clients that are not serious, not sexual, not violent, based on their last conviction. In other words, we could have somebody who committed a murder, but that was 20 years ago. They come back, commit another crime. It's based on their last crime.
Okay. And is their funding tied to their services that's outside of the county funding,
State funding.
state funding? So if we don't have employees working, is that jeopardizing our state funding, or are we able to go through the state funding that we get?
Are we open for questions, everybody, or is this?
I'm sorry, I just,
I'm just, no.
yes, you know what? I'm out of turn. I'm sorry. It's just as a slides, but if you do have one, yes, Commissioner.
Okay, no, we'll let him finish answering that last question. I just needed to know what was going on.
Yeah.
But I,
From what I understand, the officers from AB 109 that are working juvenile hall, that is still being covered by the state.
okay, yeah.
Just grab the mic.
Hello, thank you so much. I had a question about the home assignment while recovering being archived. And so if you're utilizing this home assignment type process, but yet it's supposed to no longer be in effect, it seems that it was a archive directive was used to send home employees with permanent work restrictions as a form of home accommodation leave and is no longer even in effect. So is this the same thing, what you're doing with the leave and the restrictions? Is this the home assignment while recovering that was supposed to be archived?
I'm not sure what you mean by archived exactly.
Well, according to the Probation Department's Information Technology Manager, when a directive is archived, it is no longer in effect, but yet probation has brought it back and put it in effect. Did there have to be a process, paperwork? Did you have to file anything?
It's in effect now. As far as paperwork being filed, you would have to ask Deanna Carlisle.
So it is in effect, even though it was archived.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so apparently after 18 months of being the chair, I still don't know how to do this correctly. So we'll let you finish your presentation and I will write notes down and ask questions after like my colleagues do.
So it is in effect.
Okay, if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, this is budgeted items for DPO 2s in the field for AB 109. As you see, there's 71 vacancies, 24 full-duty staff, 54 deployed staff to juvenile hall, and 76 staff on leave and restrictions. Now, on those, out of those 76, we have 31 staff that are medically disabled. We have 26 staff that are home on accommodations and 19 staff that are working with restrictions in the offices. Any questions? There's one more slide.
Yes, go ahead and complete, please.
Okay, this is for supervisors in AB 109. We have 8 vacancies, 14 full-duty supervisors, 5 deployed supervisors from AB 109, and 5 supervisors on leave restrictions. And of those on leave and restrictions, we have 1 that's home on accommodation, 4 that are permanently medically assigned home, and none unmodified, 90-day modified.
Thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
this is the point where we come and I ask commissioners if they have any questions or concerns, please raise your hand and I will call on you. Commissioner Meredith.
I have a few questions. Number one is it's probably going to be we need to get Deanna Carlisle back here from HR to explain a lot of this. But just looking at a couple of numbers here real quick, by my count based on the slides, let's see, I've got 30 some odd people that are on permanent restrictions that can't perform their duties. Well, why are they even on the books? They should be retired or removed from the logs. I mean, they're of no use at this point. And then I'm looking at the number we have on various restrictions, realizing that we don't have a whole lot of light duty spots, but there are some. And I guess that 90-day program is trying to rotate through it, which doesn't make sense to me either. That's truly impacting us. But one of the things that comes up looking at some of the staffing numbers is how, as I go back to my notes here, how is it that if somebody's picked up on a warrant by police officers, who's going to pick up that in addition to the caseload they have here? And then also, how do we manage? I'm looking at, I think it's Pomona or San Gabriel, one of them is 700 to 1 ratio. And I can't fathom that in the sense that we did have 2 El Monte police officers killed a couple of years ago. One of our probation individuals committed that thing. And it was an argument of whether factual or not about the supervision in place. And I'm just tossing it out because I know we have to staff the halls and facilities. That's our primary essential staffing. And if we have staff that are game playing us, we need to deal with that. And again, these are probably HR issues. But from a management standpoint, I don't understand how we even conduct this operation.
Well, on a weekly basis, my directors report to me and tell me what their issues are. And I agree with you. That ratio is sky high. And as we speak, I am trying to get some staff over there by whatever means possible. Sometimes my directors don't get the information to me in a timely manner. And in this case, that was the case, because that is definitely not a ratio that's sustainable.
And I understand it. And I come from a world of law enforcement where there's a whole different structure we utilize than apparently probation does. But accountability is a big thing. And I realize the higher up the ladder you go, you don't always get the information you should have, but your staff, your directors, your supervisors, managers should be bringing that forth. And then we need to be pushing HR to either remove people from the role and try and get new people on board or find a better solution than we have.
I agree.
Commissioner Terry.
When someone is in the field but on modified duty, can you explain what is that? What are they able to do and what are they not able to do?
They're able to do just about everything that a full duty staff does, with the possible exception sometimes of not seeing a client and face to face due to the volatility of the client. We do not want to put them in a position where they might be injured as far as putting their hands on a client. Now, that doesn't happen very often, but we did have a scenario a week ago at one of our offices where a client almost had to be restrained. Thankfully, we didn't have to go that far because the staff talked them down, but that is a concern, and we do not want to put our deputies, those that have restrictions, in that type of environment.
And in that scenario you described, does that client get seen or is there a backup then who sees that client? How does that work?
It's kind of like the old thing we used to do in camp and juvenile hall. I know Ed is familiar with it. We tap each other out and somebody else talks to the client that has a better rapport, or the supervisor who is more experienced will talk the client down. And once the client is calm, we usually do see them. In this case, we did see the client.
Commissioner Ship.
Yeah, has your team grown since the last time you were here? I want to say that was earlier this year. Has your team grown in like any bit? Just because I'm seeing from the numbers we have here that and the numbers that you presented that has grown. So has your team grown to fit these numbers?
As far as more staff,
Yes.
no, it's actually probably decreased.
And
It has
also,
decreased.
okay. And how early are you notified if somebody maybe they're being deployed to the field, or maybe they are going on this? Not like how early are you notified that this is happening and that your team is becoming smaller?
Usually right away. Usually. In the San Gabriel Valley incident, I wasn't like I should have been. But
Mhm.
usually I have a director or one of my senior directors. I have 4 senior directors that report to me. They will let me know that we are shorthanded here and we need help. And so then I'll get on the phone or send emails saying, look, can we delay the deployment of this staff and this staff? Or can we bring back somebody for 90 days sooner? That's something I deal with almost on a weekly basis.
Okay. And is there what's the word? Is there like approval rating through like some type of approval system through you of who gets deployed or how that goes, or is it just like whoever they choose whenever they choose it?
It's whoever's next on the list.
Okay.
DHR has a list and it's based, everybody takes their turn, and sometimes staff is asked to go somewhere else, and if they don't come from that office, they have the right to decline. And then we go to the next name on the list.
Okay. And I got one last question. So last time you were here, we talked a little bit about some people coming up here and telling us that they're not being notified that their officers changed. Has there been any change in that? Is there a notification system? Do they know who their officers are at all times?
I didn't quite understand your question. Can you repeat it, please?
Like for people who are on field supervision, those people who may have just came home or who are AB 109, et cetera, like if their field officer is deployed, if their caseworker is deployed, when are they notified and how are they notified?
Are you talking about the client?
Yeah.
No, they're not being notified
Okay.
at this time.
Commissioner.
I mean, that's up to the PO of record. Some POs are very diligent and have a real good rapport with their clients, and they'll let them know. But that hasn't been mandated. That's a good question, though. Yes, Ms. Canales. Sorry.
That's okay.
It would seem to me, with the clients that are on the street that need to be served, because I've talked to probation youth, I've talked to people on probation, and I know that they do depend on probation for services. And I do also know oftentimes now with the recent deployments and everything else, they can't even get in touch with somebody. So, and then with everything going on with probation, it would seem to me that you would shift this whole 90 days and just bring all the field officers back full time. And then it also would be, budget saving with cost of what you're paying in overtime and everything. So is there a reason you're holding on so tight to this whole, only being able to work 90 days? With the field restrictions, you're saying it goes back to their medical issues? It's because of those probation officers?
With some, they're completely restricted. With others, it's just mild restrictions that will let them come back for 90 days.
So their doctor is saying that they could only come back.
Correct. All of these restrictions, whether that's fully restricted or mild restrictions that let them come back for 90 days, they're all via doctor's note.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Thanks. So it's not probation implementing this medical on them. It's in writing from their doctors that they can only work 90 days.
No, it's probation. So there's two different things. There's one where somebody has medical restrictions that they can't work anywhere, which is lower number, of course. And then there's some that can do the basic office functions. That's probation, giving them the 90-day assignment and sending them home.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kokani.
I feel like this can be super confusing, especially for folks who haven't been doing this month after month, or, for someone like you who does this full time. So I just want to say my understanding out loud, perhaps for the benefit of the public, and for you to then correct me if I'm
Okay.
wrong, if that's okay. So I'm just looking, for example, at the core total budgeted DPO 2 items of I think there are 262, right?
Correct. Correct.
And of that 137 folks who are on leave or have restrictions, some of those folks are home full-time. So they wouldn't be deployed to the hall. They wouldn't be deployed. They wouldn't be at the field either, or in the field. They're home because they have some restriction and they're burning their time, or is that right? Like there's some percentage of that 137 folks who are just home full-time because whatever restriction they have prevents them to coming to the field office and being deployed to the hall. Is that right?
56 are at home,
Okay.
sent there by probation.
And then you
To
have,
answer Ms. Canales on that.
okay, so they can't work. And I think to Mr. Meredith's question, like, why are they still on probation's payroll? That's because they have either time to burn, or can you explain that part?
Yeah.
Why they're still part of the 137? Is it because they think that they're going to come back to work eventually, or they just have like vacation time they're burning?
Commissioner, I'm Deputy Director Robert Arcos from the Office of Safety and Security. I think all those questions are very important for us to answer, but I think Deanna Carlisle in HR is the best source of this information for us. I know she was here at the last meeting and explained a lot of the nuances, and we also are a little miffed on the civil service protections and all those things that come into play here with medical accommodations and restrictions. And I just don't think that we can answer it with the best information that you need to make decisions. And that's what we want to do for you.
Okay. And then there's another percentage, or 68 individuals who normally work in the field, but who are on a 90-day rotation in the hall. Is that right? Of that 137?
No, they're modified
Oh.
in the field.
In the field.
Correct.
Okay, got it. So those are folks who can work in the field and they're on their 90-day rotation in the field.
Correct.
But after that 90 days, you're going to lose them potentially to deployment to the hall.
No, after those 90 days, they'll go home.
Back home.
Got it. Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
And then there's
good enough to work for 90
56
days.
individuals who are home accommodation. And those folks are also at home?
They're at home, but they're on a list where they'll come back to do the 90 days.
Got it. And
So this is just
and
an
they're-
accurate picture of June.
Okay, and they're at home because they can't go to the hall because of their restriction?
Correct.
Okay, but they could work at the field office if this deployment policy wasn't in place?
That's correct.
Okay, and so as a result, you have, at least as of June, 78 individuals supervising 17,471 people.
It's this one, Alex.
Commissioner Kokani
Yes.
is referring to the April data. I think the number that Mr. Nieto gave us for core today
Is
is
June.
17,573.
Okay.
Commissioner, it might be a good opportunity for me to kind of just step into this question as well. I don't know if it helps or it adds more confusion, but with the Office of Safety and Security, with the special enforcement teams, it's approximately 94 deployed officers in the field that are also doing community supervision, compliance checks, home visits, et cetera. Not as frequently as we would like to, but we're out there at least 3 days a week. We also take up specific requests from the offices regarding a client that they'd like us to check on. We're also doing armed requests for movement of youth that are maybe high risk for appointments. And then also I want to remind you that back in December, when the chief declared an emergency at probation, we engaged in a memorandum of agreement with the LA County Chiefs. We finally have that signed. And on Tuesday, September 16th, in the city of West Covina, we'll be conducting a training for law enforcement in the area to help us support field supervision and home visits. We'll have 2 directors from SEO there to provide training on the correct way to do home visits and compliance checks, and also the required documentation that's needed to support that. So we're hopeful that that's going to offset a bit. It's not the perfect scenario we would like to have, but it's a little bit better than the numbers that we're sharing today.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, it's fair to say, sorry, this document is from, this is present? This is
No,
April.
the document that Commissioner Kokani is holding up right now is, it's blue and yellow. This is what I explained at the beginning, but now it makes more sense. Thank you. This document is a corrected document that probation provided as a result of our request this month. We got this in April, or maybe in May, but it's for April. And it now has the ratios on it that you all had asked for. So you could, we could do some division and figure out the ratios, although not as specific by office type as this document. This document is attached to the agenda under item number 7, even though we're talking about item number 6 right now, because it was one of the requests for information. Does that explain what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in fact, the ratio is worse now because based on the numbers that Mr. Nieto shared, there's 74 DPO2s who are engaged in core supervision, whereas this document has 78. And there are currently 17,573 individuals who I guess require or are mandated to receive core supervision, whereas this document has about 100 less. So there's a larger disparity, which is unfortunate because I do recall a few months ago, and I don't put this on you, I realize that this is a systemic issue, but just feels, again, important to say that, you know, we had the chief here a few months ago talking about the mission of probation being not just about, you know, checkbox compliance and relying on other cops to do safety checks or whatever, to say they did the thing, but to actually have people supporting individuals in the community to get to a better place and to actually contribute to public safety, which is really not happening right now, especially, or at least in April, when you had one DPO responsible for supervising 715 people. And and that's in San Gabriel Valley, or where you have, even in Valencia, where you have one person supervising 119 people. I guess my hope is that someone is paying attention, and I don't know, yeah, I asked Mr. Nieto this, and maybe it's worth you sharing kind of publicly how these like numbers are arrived at. And I know that your hands are tied to a certain degree, because if someone on a 90-day rotation is assigned or has been assigned historically to the East San Fernando Valley office, it's not really it's not up to you to mandate them to go support someone in San Gabriel Valley, that there are certain restrictions. But if you could talk about what those restrictions are, how you're working through them, and who takes a look at these ratios to be, I don't know, just to make sense of the fact that, you know, in Long Beach, you have a ratio of one person supervising 452 people.
As you answer that, Mr. Nieto, as a seasoned officer, can you also explain that a case isn't a case and that the different areas have different levels of risk? And so it's when we look at this, we should be looking at it more than just the numbers.
Yeah, or just, yeah, exactly. All of that, like even how we arrive at
And if it's
what makes
being done
sense.
and it's part of the process.
You're talking about the breakdown in core as to emerging adult, core plus, gender.
Just the assignment of staff on the list that we shared earlier.
Right, like is there a difference in terms of how you determine the type of supervision someone who has had to register as a sex offender versus someone who's being supervised for domestic violence issues versus someone who's being supervised pursuant to core, which I'm not sure I fully understand. Like what, how do we justify these ratios?
It's hard to justify some of these ratios, but we do make it a critically important or more important to see the sex registrants, the family violence. Traditionally, those were smaller caseloads, so we could see them more often. And so it's been made a case by my directors, my senior directors, that they are to be prioritized. We do take those offenses seriously, and we spend more time with those clients.
Commissioner Terry?
I think Commissioner Meredith.
Go ahead.
Just a few questions. Thank you for sharing the trainings that were happening with law enforcement. Can you share when some of those supports that you described would be in place in the offices that seem to have the highest DPO case ratio? So for example, is there a priority on getting some of that support to San Gabriel Valley or Long Beach or Pomona?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I think that the training that's occurring with law enforcement is for the field. We will not be assigning them to offices to do direct supervision of clients.
Okay.
It will be done on pulling the list of clients that live in the region where that is serviced by that agency to do home visits that way. It won't be like they are going to be assigned into our field offices. It's not going to be happening that way. It's the opposite. It's field enforcement, compliance checks, home visits.
So it won't impact, for example, any of these numbers we're seeing?
Not directly. Indirectly, we hope so. Indirectly, we hope so by working with the offices on specific needs, on maybe a client who they haven't been able to see for quite a while that they'd like to have a check on. That's the other way we can supplement the office.
Okay, and then just next question is, if someone isn't seen, do you all report that to court? And what is the court's role in this? So for example, just looking at that 715-to-1 ratio, I'm assuming some folks didn't get seen that month, and how does that impact then the information shared in court? Is court aware of that?
Yes, if they're not seen and we've made at least 3 attempts, then we will file a bench warrant on that individual. If he has not made an attempt, any attempt, via phone, in person, office visit, etc., we will.
I'm thinking of the department's inability to see someone just because of the staffing shortage. How is that communicated to court, and what does the court say?
Well, they're not happy about it.
Well, I guess to piggyback on that, if I may, are we tracking late reports and missing reports? And have we seen an increase because of the deployment and because of the 90-day policy?
We've seen an increase in late reports.
Would you, just empirical percentage wise?
I couldn't give you that right now.
Okay. But are we tracking it?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Commissioner Meredith, followed by Commissioner Ship.
Well, first of all, I've got to give a shout out here to, we do have some probation officers that are embedded with law enforcement agencies. I know particularly in Galindo, Burbank, you have probation officer Paz out there who's done an outstanding job because they call me all the time and thank me for having them out there. But we've also got this agreement that's now being finalized that Chief Sid from Galindo was briefing me on that I think will be a benefit in many ways in the sense that it'll develop a liaison between law enforcement and the department. And many of these agencies actually have community outreach that they do to the same clients. So I think that's a positive. My question here, and this is not directed for anybody there, DHO or Chief Arcos, we need to get Deanna Carlisle back here. There are too many questions that have to be answered, but one of the questions I do have is who determines the assignments for those that are light duty? Is that by some bureau chief or is that by HR?
HR assigns them to the office, and then the supervisor on duty will give them a caseload depending on what's the priority. So family violence, sex offenders would take priority.
Okay, so HR doesn't assign, they just say, hey, here's a person that's available.
They will send an email and say effective such and such a date, Officer John Doe will be reporting to the Harbor Area Office. And then we'll get that email and we'll make sure the supervisor on duty is aware of it. Obviously the director also, and then they'll assign them again to sex registrant or family violence or whatever is vacant as far as what we need to cover.
Okay, and I'll just close with, this is more of a statement. This is a large department with adult and youth, field and in custody. The in custody is a very small part of it, yet it is dragging down the organization as a whole, getting us all the negative publicity. I think we need to look at how we're going to staff and manage the correction side of this, custody side in the future. That's not really for you, that's for the chief and everybody else to decide.
Commissioner Ship.
Yeah, just real quickly. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, when we think about 715 to 1, aren't I mean, maybe I have this wrong, but and maybe you can answer this question. But aren't your DPOs supposed to connect you to some type of services in the community, some type of social services, something that you can reach out to get some type of help?
Yes, they are. They provide them with information about food, education, work. Correct.
Mhm.
Now, they're not spending as much time with each client, obviously, because the numbers.
100%.
There.
That's what my question was, because, you know, like, especially when we talk about safety and security, yes, the part of it is making sure that they have, that they are meeting all the checks, that they live in the right, correct places, that they're not around this person or that person. That makes sense. That's public safety. But what's not public safety is not being referred to these services, right? When we talk about, some of these people have come home, maybe want to do education. Some of them may want to work a trade, et cetera. And so I think not only is the security part, like, yes, it's fine to have police chiefs on board, but you need some type of social services part as well, because I feel like we're missing that part. Because even if we do the safety, right, and we start checking people, we're just sending people back inside. That's just what it is. And if we're sending people back inside, then there's no point in even calling ourselves DPOs at that point.
Correct. And we have had resource fairs on top of regular monthly visits from our clients. We had, I believe it was 11 resource fairs in the last 11 months. Just about every single area office had one. And in the resource fairs, if you've ever attended one, they have education services, drug and alcohol abuse services, work programs, referrals, childcare stuff, you name it. They're really well done.
No, I agree, but I think also the issue is, what if somebody comes out after a resource fair, or maybe they missed that, right? Like, they'll miss out on all of those resources just because of the numbers.
Yeah, Commissioner, in the training with law enforcement, that is a part of the training as well, is the resources that are available through probation. We'll provide handouts and phone numbers, et cetera, in the training for them, for the law enforcement officers to have, as well as we will lean on them too locally for the cities that are servicing these areas. Like, what resources do they have from their city that could also be a benefit to the client?
Thank you. So
Les.
last one.
Yeah, just, I hear you saying that, you know, you've identified folks who need like more time spent with them, or people who need additional supervision, but one, curious how that that idea of building a relationship with someone corresponds with the 90-day rotation, right? Because then you have someone for 90 days and then you have a new person for 90 days. And I don't know if there's been any feedback solicited from kind of clients, as you refer to them, to see how these rotations are impacting them. And I know that Mr. Rodriguez is here from the Public Defender's Office. Not sure if he's here as a representative from the Public Defender's Office, or just here viewing, but it would be great as a commission to also hear from Defense Counsel to see how, whether it's APD or, panel attorneys or public defenders, to also hear how this impacts, how the rotations are impacting their clients, if this, if there is no assessment that's happening from the client perspective.
Unfortunately, based on the numbers, we don't have the resources.
Okay.
That said, I do have to say that I've seen some real good work done by many of our officers, and they go above and beyond, and they have to based on these numbers.
Right. It's a lot to ask of someone. And then just to your point about law enforcement, I mean, I feel like I've heard probation officers come in here and say, we're not cops, you know? So like, why do people keep treating us like we're cops or talking to us as if we're cops, identifying that there is a distinction between the way probation officers do their work and the way cops do their work, obviously different set of responsibilities. And so I just want to lift up that it feels really concerning to me to be relying on law enforcement, no matter the training, whether it's a weekend training, whether it's a day training, whether it's a months long training.
We agree
to
with you.
have police officers doing the work of probation officers.
Yeah, obviously this is our function. It is the function of county probation to do that work. We are not in position to do that. So we've had to think outside, the proverbial box, be creative, be innovative. But I think you all sitting here know the crisis we're under. If we could just get staffing back to some optimal level where we could be creative and innovative with the people. We have very caring and dedicated probation officers who want to make a difference, who truly believe in the mission. But this is what we're faced with right now, and it is truly daunting, and we're doing the best we can. And I know you all recognize that. I understand that. So,
My astute colleagues asked all the questions I would ask, and you guys answered them marvelously. The one thing I would like to uplift, in my visits to the juvenile hall, I've spent a lot of time talking to the deployed staff. They're my friends. And more than a handful have told me that they work weekends overtime to make sure that their caseloads are covered. And so that's a piece that's not measured, it's not counted, but it exists. And I hope that we had 6 or 7 public comments on this item. I hope that they were satisfied by your answers. If not, they are more than welcome to continue their public comment within the next 24 hours. But I think that you covered a lot of their concerns about safety and processes. Commissioner Canales.
Hi, thank you so much. Something that you just said right now, you said if we could just get to this point, right, where, these things could be resolved, and especially with these numbers that we're seeing, like, one officer come to oversee hundreds. So I'm wondering, can we make a motion and recommend the department return all field deputy probation officers that have been sent home back to their field offices immediately? Because if you're using them for 90 days, the whole doctor's note that they cannot work at all, that kind of goes right out the window, right? Because unless it says on the doctor's note, can only work 90 days every 6 months, 90 days a year. I don't know, but maybe if we made a motion to just return those officers back to their positions. How do you think that would help? Because I did hear in your voice, like, God, if we could just get there, maybe that's a step.
yeah, I don't know what the answer to that question is, Commissioner.
And I don't know that anybody
if
would
you have the
follow
authority
the
to make
motion, but
if the commission has the authority and to bring people back to work, I think it goes back to Commissioner Meredith's question, is that our HR personnel, our chief has to answer that question if it's possible.
Okay, yes, and I'll yield to my fellow commissioner that we do wait for HR and then maybe at that time make the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Meredith.
I'll close with a positive. There are, as agreed, a lot of hardworking staff out there. The biggest problem we have in recruitment and everything else is the bad media coverage we get. Everybody wants to find the negative. Nobody highlights the positive. And we need to get our PAO office for probation getting those good stories out, because I hear them all the time with how they've changed somebody's life. I could give you a handful of them. The lives have been turned around. We need to get that image out there as well.
Thought I was closing with a positive, but that was good.
Thank you, Mr. Meredith.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we don't have any action on this item, but we do need to take public comment.
Yes. Do
Okay.
we have written live?
As Chair Mundo said, there are a number of written public comments already attached to the agenda. If you'd like to send another written public comment, please send it to info@poc.lacounty.gov. We'll start with in-person public comment. I think you can see the clock, and then we'll go to virtual public comment. If you would like to make comment virtually, please click the little raise your hand function or dial *3 on your phone, and you will have 2 minutes. Welcome. Good morning.
My name is Angel Mendez, and I am with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, and I would like to just urge probation to find a solution to the staffing, because as somebody who was formerly incarcerated and then currently I'm in probation for a year, I don't know my probation officer. I go to the office, I just check in, and then I just leave. I see whoever's there, and for example, one time I even missed my appointment because I work, I have kids, so sometimes I'm just busy, my mind gets mixed up with stuff, so I forgot my appointment, and then until somebody told me, hey, you haven't gone, and I didn't get no call to say, hey, you know what, you haven't came in, you haven't came nothing. It was over a week already, so I went in, and then like nothing, I just checked in and went out. And I truly believe that it's important to build that bond with an officer, somebody to have, so I could be like, you know what, I need help with this, I need help with that. But I had officers of the day that I ask them, and they have helped me. You know, they put me in an invest program, and I was able to get certain certifications in construction, which is why I'm working. So I'm grateful for that. But I also know that there's people that are out there that just see it like, okay, they're lacking on me, so I'm gonna just slack off a bit. I'm gonna do this, and they could fall back easily if they don't have that foundation. So I would just like to urge probation. You know, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That kind of firsthand comment is very helpful.
Hello.
Good morning, Thomas.
I'm Thomas Bell. Once again, you know, the deployment has been going on for years. You know, we're seeing like the really bad part of it when we could have stepped in when it was just starting. You know, but now we're in this situation where people aren't being seen, where people are deployed. It went from you had a 1-day deployment, 2-day deployment. Then they went to this 100-day, 100 people. Then they went to this 90-day rotation. We brought it down to 60. Now I guess they brought it back up to 90-day rotation thing. But this could have been avoided a long time ago. But now that we're in this situation, how do we get out of it? We got to have people stay at work. How do we do that? We got to get the hall safe so that people will stay when they get hired, so that people will come to work, and we can send our field officers back to line. These guys, I still to this day don't understand why people are sitting at home for 90 days and then go back to their field offices for 90 days. I don't get that part. There's a whole lot of work that needs to be done. And if you're able to do an office job and see your clients, you should be able to do that, no matter if you can work the halls or not. But that's the main step we need to do. We need to focus on getting these halls safe so that the DPO, whoever the chief wants to hire, DPO 1s, DSOs, can stay there, and we get our field officers back into the field office that they belong to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Good morning, Mr. Rodriguez.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Luis Rodriguez. I'm the division chief over our youth services division at the Public Defender's Office. To Commissioner Connie's point with regards to field services, I can tell you this in speaking for our young clients. Is the time off? Okay, all right. I'm sorry. For years, they had tremendous relationships with the field officers. The field officers were the kind of folks who would call up the public defenders and say, hey, Johnny or Maria is having problems. Can you work with them? Absolutely. We don't have that anymore. And in fact, I had a meeting with our staff yesterday, and a number of very concerning issues came up with the lack of field supervision. To give you an example, when our youth are put under 725 by the court, they are supposed to be supervised by probation to follow certain conditions. One of them, just to give you an example, is community service. What is happening now is that our youth are showing up, nobody's there. If there is somebody there, they say, you need to go to the community service center, where they're being charged $45 to sign up for community service. And they're being told, you're gonna sign up for Caltrans as a minor, which is extremely problematic. Those are some of the problems that we're seeing when our youth are being sent to the field service offices. It's not there. It's problematic. I find it very difficult to criticize another county department. It's not that. It's the fact that deployment has hurt our youth in and outside of the detention centers. And the problem is this, that we can come up with excuses, and I know it's very frustrating, Mr. Arcos, but the bottom line is the court will always come back to us and say, well, why isn't your kid following up on community service? It's your kid's responsibility. Well, yes and no. It's their responsibility along with probation. And so we're getting into discussions with the court when we shouldn't have these discussions, because first of all, our kids shouldn't be paying $45 to do community service. And second of all, and finally, they should not be sent to Caltrans as an example of what they could do. Anyway, just to your comments, Commissioner Kakani.
Thank you. It's the beeping on the clock that's sitting on the chair right there. We're working on it. We're working on it. Good morning, Mr. Kevin.
Yeah, hello. So the 90-day rotation, well, that's something new to me. Probably, number one, the officers, do they feel safe enough to go to work? Do they feel safe enough to go to the field? And then I'm thinking there must be a reason that some of them do not want to go. And then hopefully you guys can address that issue. Well, second reason is because the chief made this 90-day policy. Obviously, that's on the chief. But second of all, I want to respond to Commissioner Kakani's comments that she mentioned that it is not a good idea to using cops to do the probation officers' jobs. Generally, I agree with that. But however, right now, when you are a thousand probation officers short, I don't believe that you have any other alternative short-term plan. I just do not believe that other than using cops, what else can you do? You cannot hire 1,000 probation officer overnight. In fact, probably you will never hire another 1,000 probation officer until 10 years later. So in short term, I do believe that working with other law enforcement agency collaboratively together to deal with your probation officer shortage issues, and I do believe it's a really good short-term solution. But what the long-term solution is, I heard Commissioner Kakani said, 70 probation officer dealing with 17,000 whatever probation, on the field, a client, they call it a client. Well, I think, how do we reduce the number of clients? How do we make sure that you no longer have a 17,000 future client? How can we make sure that your future client are obeying the law, following the rule, does not fall into the probation department? That is your long-term plan. But obviously, it's politically incorrect to talk about it.
Thank you. Good morning, Antonia.
Good morning. My name is Antonia, and I'm coming on behalf of ARC. I hope you're doing well, commissioners. I just wanted to, thank you. I'm a little short, but I did want to uplift the comments made by one of our members today and just kind of remark on the experience I had yesterday with some other members who are, documenting the same experience. Either they're showing up at places asking for representation and then not meeting that, or they're not getting the services that they need, and that lack of fabric does not protect them in the long run, because then there are things that can come up and opportunities that are opportunities we don't want them to take. And so I think what we really need to work on is making sure that those services are accessible and relevant to people as they are returning home. And then I also wanted to say that the confusion that you guys have is a confusion that I think the civilians have. And so maybe creating a way for this to be both educational and also very much more informative would be helpful. It's still kind of confusing as to why 90 days, and then why are people at home? Are there other alternative options like virtual meetings that we can use now that COVID-19 happened and we have those platforms? So what are we doing to kind of meet this moment? What are we doing to meet the modern moment? And how can we do that in a collaborative way that addresses the needs of the clients, as you said? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That looks like all of our public comment in the room. So we'll go to virtual public comment. We have a call-in user. Sorry, I lost your number. Call-in user number 12. We'll start with you. I think you may need to dial *6 on your phone to unmute. Can we hear you? Call-in user
Good
number.
morning.
Yes, good morning. You can begin.
Yes, one suggestion possibly to address your staffing concerns is it seems reasonable that perhaps you would consider closing camps except for DKC and sending those youth to residential community programs where they could be supervised by CDP officers and residential treatment officers, as far as placement officers and CDP officers. It would be a least restrictive environment for those youth. And it seems like it would also help with sending those POs that work currently in camp. They could be sent to the various facilities to assist with the shortages. So again, you would have CDP officers and you would also have residential placement officers supervising those kids. And it would be in keeping with the LA model, which is the least restrictive environment for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go to our virtual commenters, starting with Letitia Williams.
That was sent home on leave based on medical restrictions.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you start over again? We missed the very beginning of your comment, and we'll reset your time.
Okay. My name is Letitia Williams. I'm one of the deputies that was sent home based on my permanent work restrictions. Now, I've been working with permanent work restrictions for 15 years, and I've been doing my job in the field for that time. The department placed me in the field because of my permanent work restrictions. Now they're saying that I can't work because of those restrictions. I was sent home along with the rest of the deputies, but we are able to work our restrictions based on our doctors' notes. We've had meetings and appointments that state that we can physically work our field positions, but it's the chief who is stating that we cannot. So we are sent home, sitting at home when we could be working and filling and doing our positions as far as supervision, writing reports. I'm an ASCOT deputy and I'm a court officer. So we can work. We just cannot physically work juvenile hall. And this is the reason why we're at home. But if you pulled us back to work, you wouldn't have the issues that you're having in the fields right now with the shortages in the units, in the area offices, because we are able to do our jobs.
Thank you. We'll go next to Tanya Ibanez-Vernig. Good morning, Tanya. Oh, good. You can begin.
Can you hear me? Thank you. Yeah, this is Tanya Ibanez-Vernig, and I just find it so concerning that there seems to be more officers on leave than actually working full time. So it's really difficult for me to be positive in light of these statistics. I do want to thank the commissioners for their work, but what I would urge the commissioners and the probation department to do is to start thinking about solutions. It just seems to me like the policies and procedures need to be changed. The union contracts need to be changed. Probation department should be able to assess whether or not the people that are on leave are truly unable to do their jobs, maybe get an independent medical examination to verify that these individuals truly are unable to do the field jobs. Anyways, it's just distressing, and we need to hear more solutions. You've all adequately addressed the problems. They're there. Everyone knows about it. The question is, what are we going to do in the future? Because it just seems like the workforce is getting smaller and smaller. And this isn't about optics and bad publicity. This is about a problem that seems to be festering with no solutions in sight. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's all of our public commenters, so we can move on.
Okay, commissioners, any further questions or comments? Commissioner Ship.
I mean, I'll probably just double down on this, but I do recommend like a notification system or something, especially from the public comments we hear, like that people don't know or just anything, just some type of email maybe, or some type of like protocol for this, just because of the danger of that.
Thank you. Okay, with that, that concludes item number 6. We will return to the regular programming and go to item number 4. Let's, which is to discuss and take possible action on movement of girls, young women, and gender expansive youth to Campus Kilpatrick in accordance with the Los Angeles County Probation Department's depopulation plan. This update will include progress on the construction and movement of youth, information about BSCC's pending approval of Campus Kilpatrick for use as a juvenile hall, updates on communications with families, community-based organizations, and county service providers impacted by the relocations, and the programming plan for Campus Kilpatrick. Joining our panel today is Deputy Director Jocelyn Roman and Senior Director Kim Binion. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I think you are up first, Deputy Director Roman.
No wonder why Nieto was holding it up. Okay. Look, I'll fix it in a moment. Good morning, everyone. I have Ms. Kim Binion here because she's the senior director that's overseeing Campus Kilpatrick. I believe that she can answer questions with a lot of clarity. I can give a high-level overview, but I really want her to be able to address the questions. She's doing the walkthroughs. She's present. She's engaging. She's part of the plan for what Campus Kilpatrick is going to do when they open up. So I think perhaps she should be the one to start, and I can jump in wherever you feel necessary.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we have quite a few construction projects that have been completed. In our intake area, we've created a holding cell. That was a BSCC requirement. We are currently on the phase 2 portion of that, and that is creating a youth shower in the intake area. We have corrected the shower stalls at Kilpatrick. So with the boys there, the shower stall doors were lower. And so we've raised them up for privacy for the girls. We've removed the urinals in the restrooms. Because we'll have 4 different operations there, juvenile hall, camp, placement, and SYTF. We have replaced beds in the juvenile hall cottages so that they are the safer beds that are similar to Los Padrinos. They're plastic beds, so they don't have sharp edges or anything like that. The post-dispo girls, camp, placement, and SYTF, they will have the bed frames that that were already there. Cottages. So one of the other things that we're doing different is with our partner agencies, we're actually giving them office space on the cottages, on the units, so that they can have easier access to the youth. We're adding workstations for the different CBOs, again, so that they can have more direct access to the youth. We've conducted quite a few walkthroughs with SAPSI, with DPH, with DYD, just so that they can see the layout of the campus and where their office is in respects to where the youth cottages and youth units are. We are upgrading our property room so that we can house a property of around 50 girls. We are working with the sheriff department to add the mugshot and fingerprint system at Kilpatrick. Shower partitions, laundry room. So the laundry currently at DKC, our post-dispo girls, they do laundry there. So we will continue to have that at Kilpatrick. For our pre-dispo, the juvenile hall youth, we will send that laundry out. And we do have a youth lactation room that is private, and next door to that is our baby bonding room. So those are the major construction projects. Oh, I'm sorry. And we've added additional CCTV cameras to increase the safety of youth and staff at the facility. That's construction.
Perfect. And regards to timing?
So the timing for Campus Kilpatrick is going to be, we're planning for prior to our next court date, which will be the 18th of September. We have requested the BSCC inspection already, so we're waiting on BSCC to come out and do that inspection. No definitive date to provide, obviously, because of safety and security, but the intention is to do the move before the 18th of September.
Okay. If there's nothing further to report, I will open it up to commissioners for concerns and questions. Commissioner Terry.
Can you share one of the items was an update on communication with families, CBOs, and any other providers? Was there anything else to share about what that communication has been beyond the space that's being set up for the CBOs?
We have a weekly meeting with our partners and stakeholders, and we give them updates, mainly with DYD, SAPSI. We've, again, conducted sub-tours. When they ask, we arrange for them to come up and conduct another walkthrough. With the programmers, I know that the director over programming continues to have contact with them, and she also maintains contact with myself and Director Evans. That's going to be at Kilpatrick. And for communication with the parents, we at DKC have conducted town halls. I've facilitated each one of them, virtual and in person. I think I'm due for another one. And I know at Los Padrinos, they've conducted town halls as well. We continue to have our family liaison email that we monitor, but we haven't received any communication via that. In my town halls, I encourage the parents to reach out to the ombudsman to get any concerns to us, the facilities.
And then I know just from doing a recent inspection there were a lot of concerns from the young people there. So just wondering how you all are engaging with them. In addition to the school, I think that was a significant concern that there wasn't capacity. So any updates there with how the education unit is being supported?
So for school, we had 2 classrooms that were out of commission. They have since been fixed. And Public Works is going to also do an assessment to kind of mitigate the issue from happening again. We do have an ed services space. We have like a workshop area that we plan to use for the different vocations. It's really, we want to make sure that we are able to facilitate the space for the different programs that we intend to have.
In regards to the discussions with the youth,
Mhm.
because the population turnover is so much, and we know that this has been getting worked out since May, we have tried to avoid having discussions with the youth until we start approaching the dates as we, get closer, to make sure that we're talking to the right set of kids and not creating an anxiety that's going to last several months. So those conversations will be occurring as the date comes closer. We did do that with Campus Kilpatrick youth to prepare them and to ask questions and get suggestions from them. We will do the same with the female population.
And just to go back to the school thing, I mean, it was a significant concern. I think it was shared that we would not be able to start school with this change, given the current state of the facility. So what all would need to happen to make sure that quality education can continue or start for the new people coming in? I guess I'm just trying to get a sense of how ready is the facility for that? Or I don't know if you feel like you answered that already.
I think the concern that had been occurring was that we had the 2 classrooms that were out of commission due to water damage. So the reference that she made to Public Works, again, I think I mentioned this before, I'm not in construction, but it has something to do with, the angle and the foundation, being able to have that water. So if Public Works has worked that out, then we shouldn't have, those classrooms going out of commission. That was the point of taking our time to actually fix it and not just put new carpet and say, well, it hasn't rained in a while. So the intention is to make sure that that doesn't occur. In terms of the quality of education, I mean, we meet with LACO regularly. We have been in discussions about how many girls we have that will be in college, how many will be in high school, making sure that we are properly transitioning and meeting all of their educational needs. So those conversations will continue. It's a priority for us.
Commissioner Canales.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I'm wondering, I'm sure we've been provided a budget, but is there an updated construction budget and everything with the addition to the showers and removing the urinals and everything like that? If there's an updated construction budget and who's doing the construction, I would be interested in having that, or if it's on the probation website. It would also be interesting to compare that budget to something like Beloved Village and the services they provide for young girls, and see like how much we're investing in, rebuilding these facilities that I thought we were trying to look into different alternatives for young women and girls, but we seem to be spending a lot of money on construction.
So I don't have a budget that I can share with you. I think it's a request that can be made, but I
Okay.
do not have one that I can provide.
Right, because I'm sure there's invoices and I'm sure they're not doing it for free, right? So thanks, we'll do that.
Commissioner Meredith.
A couple of just quick questions. It's a beautiful site. They have a nice kitty cat out there. I think it's called a mountain lion. But more importantly is that facility, what are the arrangements we're going to make for visitation? Because it is quite a distance out there. And we're going to do video visitation, or we're going to have transportation out there. I mean, that's one of the things. The second question of that, or part of that, will be because of the location of that, and having been through 2 or 3 different wildfires with probation in the last few years, that isn't a significant fire area. I know we have a wildfire plan. I just want to make sure it's still updated.
So I can speak to the visitation a little bit. I'm going to let her speak on wildfires because she has impressed me with her passion about it, honestly, making sure that we're safe. In terms of the visitation, we are working on a lift contract. That's still something that's being in progress. It's not implemented just yet. I have had conversations with Chief Deputy Williams, Chief Deputy Aguilera, to make sure that we can work something out. Deputy Director Arcos, to have a temporary with transportation from one of our locations or 2 of our locations to be able to make sure that parents can get to where the visiting will be. I do want to mention something that has come up. It's interesting about parents. Some parents don't want to be picked up at their home. And so they have asked about being picked up at one of our locations, which is something that we kind of heard a little bit opposite. And in the town halls that we've had, we heard a lot of people asking for Lyft or something like that. But in meetings at the facilities, we've had a couple of parents that have said, I want to be picked up at a facility. So interesting feedback that that has occurred. So that is still being worked out. We will definitely be increasing virtual visit options, but we don't want to do the virtual visit because we're not offering transportation or a way for parents to get up there. So we want to do both. And I'll let her speak to the emergency evacuation.
So for the emergency evacuation plan, each facility is required to have a building emergency coordinator. Yesterday, we met with the emergency operations unit, and we've asked them to come out so that we can change our plan. Because of the increase of numbers, we need to make sure that we have enough vehicles. The vehicles are serviced. We want staff to know the evac routes, the different routes to get down the hill both ways. So it is a great concern for the management at Kilpatrick, and we are working on making sure that it is updated, making sure that we increase the amounts of emergency supplies that we do have, as well as, like I said, make sure our vehicles are ready.
Okay, I just point that out because I've been through several wildfires and post Woolsey, and Woolsey is a whole story in itself. So you can bet if there's a fire, I'll show up out there, but I wonder what the plan is because that is such a remote location. There's only like 2 or 3 access routes in. So thank you.
Commissioner Ship.
Yeah, so, and maybe this was brought up at a different time, but at least when we did the inspection at Kilpatrick, 2 of the biggest issues were around the sewage situation and the kitchen situation. And that was for 20 young people at the time, and maybe even less than that, right? To feed them 3 meals a day, they had to store food in the back. And then also with the sewage situation, there were always sewage problems. Now we're more than doubling that population. Has there been any change to the sewage pipe of some type of overhauling, and then also like an overhauling to the kitchen? I know that the refrigerator didn't work and they didn't have enough storage space, so they were storing it in the garage. Like, what are the updates on those things?
Well, we don't have a garage, so I don't think that's where it was, but I'll let her speak to the kitchen part. In terms of the sewage, and I think I had mentioned when I was here before that I didn't want to misspeak and say something that I wasn't aware of. I know it was something that you guys had brought up in your report. The meetings that we were having about the sewage actually revealed some interesting things, such as in order for the sewage system that's there to work, there has to be people there. So when we actually moved the Campus Kilpatrick youth out and the campus, the staff that were there, that was part of the issue. If we were able to actually keep it going. And Kakani, I saw your face. I think there was a temporary fix that was there that actually required the system to be used. So all of our meetings have told us, all of the inspections have told us that we do not have a concern. The facility can actually have more than 120 people there on site at one time. So that is no longer a concern. I know it came up in the report. We've inquired, we've had the inspections done, and that is the responses that we have received. In terms of the kitchen, I think she's been more active in those conversations, so I'll have her feedback.
We have 2 additional units that were brought on the campus to facilitate having additional food.
And then also, could you speak about, because we're talking about 3 different populations right now, what is the youngest that somebody can be inside of this camp, and then what is the oldest that somebody, and not just the population, but what is the possibility that the oldest and not youngest? You know?
It's the same in most juvenile facilities, 12 to, we can keep someone up to 24.
Okay. And so once you're talking about that difference, right, 12 to 24, that's around a 12-year difference, right? And you have 3 different populations. What is your plan to not separate these populations, but make sure that there is a clear emergency plan, right? Some youth who come into Los Padrinos have some different issues. They're freshly newer to the facilities. Some of these youth have been there for years inside of a SYTF facility, inside of Dorothy Kirby, and they are more lax, but some of them are older, some of them are younger. The interaction can be dangerous for the younger side. Do you have a plan? Is that something that you're working on, some type of safety plan, some type of secure plan? Because at least from when I've been to Kilpatrick, it's very open. And so what is your plan around that?
Yes, each program has its own definition, and we have a purpose. You know, camp is a different purpose than SYTF. Each unit will have its own classification. So their risk, their treatment needs, if they're pre-dispo, post-dispo, we will have different classifications so that we can monitor the safe housing of the youth.
But will they interact, right? Like, say if they're in the classroom together and something jumps off right there, right? Like, what is the plan for that, right? It's a moment's notice. At Kilpatrick before, there wasn't very much fighting. There wasn't very much, there wasn't a need for this type of planning. Now we're talking up in the population, and we're talking about three different populations. So what's the plan around that emergency and that safety protocol?
So the purpose of a classification is to make sure our units are cohesive in the sense of, like you're saying, maturity, sophistication, even their charges. We don't want to mix, you know, a lower end charge with someone who is fighting court differently. So part of that is how we assign the units and what units are classified for what. Each unit will have their own classroom. So that kind of takes care of itself. Kilpatrick before did some renovations on like clouding the glass so they can't see each other walking by and try to run out of the classroom to fight. So there are safety, operationally safety items that were taken care of ahead of time. We will have officers in the school quad that are monitoring classrooms for safety as well. So we have some operational things that we can do. Our movement control monitors the moves, the walking of kids. We clear when a unit can walk to a certain area. I think those are pretty good. You got it, yeah.
And then this is my last question. Pretty much also with the staffing issue, right? Like you had to up the staffing. So, and last time I think we were talking about that you would reach out to the staff and you guys are surveying everybody. How is that going? Do you have the staff to meet the minimum standard? What does that look like? What is the staffing issue there? Are some staff going to work with certain populations and others are not? Just questions around that.
So what you're referencing was the survey that we did for the staff to tell us their preferences. They gave us their top 3 preferences on where they would like to work between Dorothy Kirby Center, Campus Kilpatrick, and Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. So everybody has turned those in. So we have them. We have looked at the numbers that each facility will be requiring so that we have a range and we can start looking at where we're going to be assigning people and providing them notifications. Those have not been finalized. I am going to be meeting with the executive team, presenting those numbers so we can start putting some names to that. We are taking things into consideration, obviously, for Campus Kilpatrick. There's a lot of special needs that are going to be there, and that will help with the assignment of those staff. So we do have their preferences. We're taking them into consideration as we open up.
Thank you. Commissioner Terry.
2 quick follow-up questions. How much notification will staff get about the placement? And is there any sort of, can't think of the appeal process? For example, if something really doesn't work for a staff person?
How much notice for Campus Kilpatrick? They will be going before the youth arrive. We can't have them arriving at the same time as the youth. Ms. Binion has worked on some trainings that she would like to have with them before they open up. So I can't tell you exactly how much it'll be because we haven't set the date. So I can't say if it'll be 2-3 weeks, but the intention is to provide them some notice and allow for training to occur. In terms of a appeal process, at the end of the day, we have asked for their preferences. So we're really trying to meet the needs of where they would like to go as best as possible.
And going back to the transportation, will the transfer happen regardless of if the transportation is set up with Lyft or whoever you all end up going with?
Transfer will occur regardless of the Lyft transportation. That's where the stopgap will be with us having at least something coming from the institutions to Campus Kilpatrick.
So once young people move, there will be something in place that the department will offer at that same time so that families have an option to get out there?
That is our intention, yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Kakani.
Okay, I'm just going to go in order. As it relates to staff housing, will the 56-hour work week continue at Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Okay. And so you have enough, I guess, how many staff do you envision needing to have housing for?
That's where we haven't finalized the number for how many would be there at shift at one given time. I think Ms. Binion has worked on the housing. I know, I see the question going into, do we have the actual place for every staff that would be there at the same time to be there? Do you know what we finalized with?
The
with the.
So we do
sleeping
have
quarters?
staff trailers that are being ordered for staff housing, for additional staff housing. So we have our current staff housing quarters, and we will be ordering trailers.
So how many staff do you envision being able to have housing for? If you're ordering trailers and you know how many rooms there are, you can probably tell me how many folks you're planning to create
Horrible with
housing for.
numbers. I believe it was in the 50s.
So don't want to commit to a number and say we're going to have 50 on site at any given time.
Right,
So,
right.
so
I'm
we
not
are
saying how many you're going to have on site, but just how many folks you're building out housing
so
for.
we're definitely, we know that there's a need for the additional sleeping quarters. So we've already had those discussions, and I believe that she probably participated in a few more than I did about the build out.
And do the trailers not require Coastal Commission approval?
Those discussions have occurred. We've submitted our request. Again, there's another team that's working on that, but all of that has been processed.
Do you know what the timeline is for receiving that approval for the staff trailers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And then you've got 4 different populations at Dorothy Kirby. I'm sorry, you'll be having 4 different populations at Kilpatrick. And I had raised at the beginning of the meeting kind of this issue that occurs at Dorothy Kirby, where some of the girls and gender expansive youth who are dispositioned to camp are not really able to enjoy the benefits of kind of a regular camp placement, right? Where doors have to be closed, they have to be accompanied, movement is actually quite restricted. I just kind of wondering what thought you've given to that. Will it likely be the same thing at Dorothy Kirby Center, or at Kilpatrick, excuse me, that's happening at Dorothy Kirby Center, where there will be some more restrictions placed on young folks with the camp placement?
No, our intention is to have a less restrictive program and opportunities for the camp girls, as well as SYTF.
I guess, how do you plan on effectuating? You were also at Dorothy Kirby Center,
Yes.
right? So clearly you're aware
Yes.
of the restrictions that were imposed upon young folks who were dispositioned to camp. And I don't know if there was a solution that was arrived at. So just curious how you
So
intend to
even the
effectuate that.
access to the small back patio will be different for the post-dispo girls. We have an outdoor rec area that we just really intend to utilize the ability to walk around as a plus and as a difference between the programs. So our intention is to be treatment oriented, even for the pre-dispo, but our intention is to have more, I don't want to say more freedoms, but to have a less restriction so the youth can have a better transition into the community and not be such a stark difference.
And I'd like to say some of it, we have to wait and see, right? What does it look like once we arrive? The intentions are there, the discussions are there. As all the youth start to come together, we can tell how it phases out. Also the sleeping quarters, you're pointing out one part, but there's a benefit to Campus Kilpatrick in that it's open sleeping quarters. The girls will be able to communicate and congregate amongst themselves in that small space that they have for youth. Whereas that's not the same setup at Dorothy Kirby Center or at Juvenile Hall. So even our Juvenile Hall girls would benefit from the open space that they have.
So, I mean, I think maybe, I've heard the exact opposite from probation staff at LP in terms of girls at LP benefiting from open quarters. And I think that, I mean, I don't know, I don't work there. I'm just sharing what I hear,
can
that I
speak to
hear that
that.
that's your,
I can speak to that. I think we know that we have smaller populations, behavior changes, right? A lot of times when you have more people together, more kids in a space, sometimes our very well behaved youth may act out because they're seeking attention, or there's a lot of things that contribute to it. So being in a cottage that only has 8 youth is a lot different from being in a space that has 20 youth, you know? So I think that the smaller population will allow for them to interact a little bit differently, and also our ability to house with the classifications and have 5 separate spaces, which is actually 10 separate spaces to be able to put the youth, allows us to put similar children together. And so I think that we'll actually see that open space will be a benefit. And I previously mentioned that the department did hire someone to come and give us some advisement, and it has shown that that's something that has worked in other locations. So I think the staff that you are speaking to are discussing for what they know, the experience that they're having. So I'm not going to say it's untrue. It's appropriate probably for the experience that they're having.
and then as it relates to the, I guess it's 5 different cottages, 10 different, I don't know, when you said, Ms. Binion, that every unit will have its own classroom, did you mean that there will be 10 classrooms or 5 classrooms? I think I heard someone say that every unit will have its own classroom.
Yes.
So is that 10 classrooms or 5 classrooms?
No,
Or how many
Sorry, I
classrooms? I mean,
wish I
because you're
had
going to
a
have,
number.
I'm just looking at like the population numbers from Monday. There are 55 girls and gender expansive youth who are currently incarcerated between Dorothy Kirby and LP. So yeah, how many classrooms do you anticipate using between that number of girls and gender expansive youth?
We have enough classrooms for each unit. So I think we have 10 classrooms. I'm thinking 8 right now, but we're kind of reimagining some space over there. I can follow up with you today. I'm going to Kilpatrick.
Okay. And so what happens when in a single unit, you might have some young folks who are in college and some young folks who are in high school? How will you?
Exactly what we do now. We pull youth out to their appropriate location.
But if you have.
We have a workshop area that we can also use for the college students.
Okay. I thought you were going to use the workshop for vocational training.
We are, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen during school hours.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then as it relates to programming, will Young Women's Freedom Center still be coming regularly? Have you all engaged in that contracting or that? I don't know.
Yes, actually, we're part of the Ending Girls Incarceration initiative. So we have met with OYCR, Young Women's Freedom Center has been there, Beloved Village has been there. We actually meet, I think, in a couple of weeks. We are really going to incorporate this initiative as part of our mission and our vision. So yes, they are involved. I've showed them their office space, their work area, because there will be a great partnership with them.
I know in LP, at least, you have a credible messenger inside the units, I think, for most of the day. So are you envisioning having credible messengers either from Young Women's Freedom Center or ARC in each of the 10 cottages, 5 units?
DYD is over the Credible Messenger program, so we will support that.
Have you found, I mean, I guess the programming seems like a big piece of this working. So I know that DYD is holding it, but I'm curious what communications you've had from DYD in terms of, or Department of Arts and Culture, in terms of ensuring that both credible messengers and additional programming will be in place.
Again, they're part of the weekly meeting, and they've been on campus. They communicate regularly with me, so we haven't said no to credible messengers. We expect credible messengers to be there.
And our programming director is the one who's having the contact with the credible messengers and any other program that's coming, making sure that those contracts are in place and ready to be executed when we move. So it's not something that Ms. Binion or I are specifically working on. We have a programming director.
Commissioner Kakani, how many more questions?
I just have
on
one
your
more
list?
question. Are you planning on using pepper spray at Kilpatrick?
At this time, there's no plan or discussion about pepper spray at Kilpatrick.
So you're not planning on using it?
At this time, there's no plan or discussion about pepper spray. I can't tell you that that's a yes or no. I'm not the chief. At this time, that is not a discussion.
Okay, and then plans for pregnant girls. Sorry, I forgot about that one.
You guys wonderful.
Pregnant girls will be housed at Kilpatrick. Depending on how far along they are in their pregnancy, will determine their medical needs. So whatever their medical needs require, we will get them to the appropriate housing. So if that means that I have to make a phone call to LP, hey, this girl has higher needs and we need her to be closer to LA General. That's something that we'll definitely arrange. If the girl needs to be housed at either one of the facilities so that there is certain kind of appointments that are made. I've already had discussions with the superintendents on how we will support that and how they will support that.
So they won't be at Kilpatrick
No,
necessarily?
they won't be.
Oh, but I thought you said they might go to LP.
If they
or
have certain needs that need to be specially monitored.
Sorry, just last question. And I know you're pending BSCC approval. I remember last time we spoke, you said something about like windows needing to be replaced. I don't even remember what additional things were outstanding. Will you move the girls there and gender expansive youth there prior to the next court date, even if you don't receive BSCC approval to do so?
I think that's probably a question for the chief.
Okay.
Commissioner Canales.
Thank you so much. Right now, when Commissioner Kakani was asking questions, you responded with about the dorm setting. You responded with the department hired someone to show that it works and that it's worked in other places. I'm wondering who the department hired, and did you put out an ROI, or how did you go about that process? And how many trainings have you had with this? Is it a consulting firm or what is it?
She's a consultant. She was in place before I joined the project, so I don't know how she joined, and I honestly cannot remember her name at this moment. As I said it, I knew you would ask. She came out, she visited Dorothy Kirby Center. She's walked some of our locations. She's given us feedback. She met with Ms. Binion and I separately. She went to Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. So she has come out, she has had discussions. She hasn't conducted a training per se, but she has given us feedback as we were starting to develop and plan what we thought might work. And that was one of the things that she informed us, because that was feedback that our staff had. And that was something we heard back from her.
Okay, so it's one individual, it's not like okay, great. And then maybe you could get her name and maybe we could even have her come here and present to the general population of exactly what she is saying works and is implementing. I think it would be good to know. I saw your face, Commissioner Mundo, and the twisted look if you don't understand that request, but we could do it in a separate meeting.
It's my brain just thinking. It's overloaded right now. So I just have one comment, and I have a ton of questions, but I'm only going to ask two. The issue about youth living in a space that's more open is intriguing to me, because I actually worked Camp Scott with 60 girls, and they actually it was fun, and it was relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Kilpatrick has a better setting, so that's an intriguing question that I look forward to getting an answer to, because like I said, I worked with girls in the 60 unit camp open setting. So, so there's going to be a holding cell where photos are taken and live scans are done. That suggests that there's going to be an admission/intake process there?
Yes.
So officers arresting a person in Pomona are going to drive to Kilpatrick for the process?
Yes.
Okay. And is there going to be a dedicated person that does, because currently, and correct me if I'm wrong, but currently, unlike other counties, we have an admissions part. That's where well, we don't even take life scans there. The life scans come with the youth. So why are we taking life scans at Kilpatrick?
We have a life scan at Los Padrinos.
Yeah, but we only do that when we have special order. The youth come with their life scan. They can't get in without it. So why are we putting a life scan in Kilpatrick?
We requested the same exact things, everything, same thing, same exact equipment that we had at Los Padrinos for
Okay.
Kilpatrick. And to your question about the dedicated intake officer, because of intake is so small, we are identifying officers on each shift to cross-train.
Cross-train.
Yeah,
That's what I
with
figured.
them over at Los Padrinos. So that's something that we're planning on doing before we even open.
Okay, so that's question number one of just two.
Okay.
But trust me, I have 1,000 questions. And I think this is the most important one because I visit the halls too frequently. I've not been at the school where we've had a full group of regular teachers. It's been about 60% substitutes. We have rules in the county that dictate who gets moved first, lower person on the totem pole. If we have all these senior, very well-trained, very experienced teachers who are not going to go there, drive there, are we going to be operating with substitutes daily? I mean, that's been my biggest concern because later on today, the OYCR will, actually, no, they didn't. There was a report that came out about the educational system, the process for the county now, but who's going to be teaching these kids and is there going to be any consistency there?
So they had teachers at Campus Kilpatrick previously, so we know that you have people that are already prepared to return.
Oh, great.
But in terms of the number of teachers, that's something that LACO has not provided me with. So we can definitely inquire what the ratio is for substitutes versus permanent teachers, but they did have teachers that were there prior to us moving our youth.
Okay. So maybe we can go to public comment, give them a chance to, oh, we can't? Okay, Mr. Meredith.
Yeah, I need clarification on this because I deal with the police chiefs in this county almost a regular basis. If we have a girl who's going to have to go to intake, and I'm going to use the Pomona example, they're going to have to transfer all the way out to Kilpatrick?
Yes, the chief will have all female youth being intaked at Campus Kilpatrick, not at not at Barry J and not at LP.
Okay, that makes no sense because you're taking officers out of the field for 6, 7, 8 hours, probably from Pomona to go out there, do the intake and come back.
Understood.
And I mean, I'm going to catch flack outside of this meeting from the chiefs on that issue, and I'll just refer him to Guillermo, but.
Malibu will like it. So, any written or live public comment?
I actually don't recall whether we had written public comment on this. I'm looking, I think no. If you'd like to make written public comment, please send your email to info@lacounty. Don't send it there. Send it to info@poc.lacounty.gov. Thank you to all of you who are in the room who'd like to give public comment. If you want to give public comment online, please use the little raise your hand function, the tiny hand button at the bottom. Or if you're calling in, dial *3 and we'll call you by your phone number. You'll have 2 minutes and we can begin. Go ahead, Mr. Bell.
Okay. Well, first, I'm happy to hear about the Kilpatrick keeping the 56. That was going to be one of my questions as well. And as far as notification, it's good to hear that they're going to get notification. Because as we learned from when Kilpatrick moved to Barry J, they found out that day. So I want to make sure that the officers that are going to CVK are not going to learn the day of movement. As well, I want to ask, will the department be honoring the Kilpatrick's first right to refusal? Which means that since Kilpatrick didn't close, it's still open, it was just for repairs, those officers would just move to another location, which means they have the right to go back to their location. Will the department be honoring that? Because technically they have that right to go back. And I know Barry J needs officers as well. Well, everybody needs officers. We'll use it's gonna be more girls, so we're gonna need more females. Well, we got two lawyers here. I don't think you could use gender to discriminate with who goes back or not. So these guys, they do have the right to go back. And I just want to know, will the department be honoring their right to go back?
Thank you. We'll reset the clock for you. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Trinity. I am with the Young Women's Freedom Center, and I am here to urge Probation Oversight Commission to focus on decarceration, not relocation. Moving girls and gender-expansive youth to Camp Kilpatrick in Malibu is not a solution. It's simply shifting them from one cage to another. The root issues, abuse, lack of care, and disconnection from community will not disappear with a change of scenery. Our rapid release plan already offers a real alternative: community-led healing, family support, and true accountability outside of incarceration. With $4 billion in settlement funds and decades of proof that probation facilities cause harm, it is unacceptable to expand incarceration instead of investigating and housing, mental health services, and community-based care. We can begin releasing youth now, starting with those with low LADS scores through individualized release plans. We do not need to send youth over there. It doesn't make sense. And thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're going to reset the... Okay. Good morning. My name is Deanna Pittman, and I'm here with the Young Women's Freedom Center. We work with girls and gender-expansive youth in facilities and also when they return home. Since the movement of girls and gender-expansive youth to Malibu was announced, we've been strongly advocating against it. The focus should be on decarceration of girls, not the movement to another facility. This body created a strong list of pros and cons on whether or not the girls should be moved. And the cons were long. And I feel like probation has blatantly ignored it. Further, it's negligent to upscale the incarceration of girls and gender-expansive youth when this department is at the center of a $4 billion sexual abuse settlement. To date, we haven't seen any significant effort by the department to reduce the population of girls and gender-expansive youth. No matter the facility, the problems are going to persist because, as Trinity just mentioned, the root causes are not being discussed. Probation announced their intent to move girls in February. It's now August, and they still have not received any type of approval from the BSCC. Decarceration is our priority, but the department should not be allowed to move not one girl or gender-expansive youth to Malibu without that explicit approval. The state, the county, and community is against it. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for lifting up that pros and cons list. I'm actually going to ask Janae to link it under this item on the agenda if folks would like to see the pros and cons list that the POC created.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kaylee Matthews, and I'm a community organizer with the Young Women Freedom Center. I'm also someone who oversees all youth resources that we offer for them long-term and also political education. I'm a young person who has been system impacted by the juvenile justice system from the age of 14 until I was 18 years old. I'm now 21. So I'll just get straight into it. Gender-expansive youth and girls may be particularly vulnerable in juvenile detention settings, facilities like Malibu, or others with many more correctional settings. may not be equipped to handle the specific needs. These specific individuals need a clear approval process and ensure that such mores are done in their best interest. I want to uplift the real issue here and get straight to the point. Decarceration is priority, but probation should not be allowed to move any girl gender expensive youth to Malibu without the approval from the BSCC. If there is no approval, then why do they feel like they have the best interest in our youth? And without no direction, I will be here to voice that for our community. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Antonia, and I'm here on behalf of ARC to speak against the proposed movement of girls and young women to and gender-expansive youth to Campus Kilpatrick. This relocation will not solve the underlying issues in our system. It will only displace young people further from their families, communities, and support networks. Kilpatrick's location in Malibu makes regular visits difficult logistically and financially. Even though you are providing transportation, the additional hours will be large. Also, Commissioner Meredith brought up the difficulties of intake, and I think that should be highlighted. Family connection is not a luxury. It's essential for rehabilitation and healing. Secondly, there are serious concerns about readiness, as brought up, schooling, programming, and the facility itself. Safety and privacy must be in place and built before it starts, not as an afterthought. Right now, schooling is inadequate with teachers and not enough of a curriculum in place. Something that I didn't catch in this discussion was also a concern that was lifted in April about suicide prevention and harm for these youth. That also should be addressed before these girls and gender-expanded youth are moved to the facility. Lastly, the risk of mixing 3 different populations with an age range of over 12 years also opens individuals to heightened levels of vulnerability and scary potentials for exploitation. We know there are better options. The POC has already been recommitting itself to reducing incarceration for girls and expansive youth. Assessive tools have also shown that 99% can be providing to alternatives like diversion and community-based programs. I want to also uplift the members that just spoke who are coming from YWF and Beloved. They have a plan for rapid release. You should listen to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Saul Campos, and I'm a youth advocate with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. To pretty much piggyback on what Antonia just mentioned is that moving these youth will cause difficulties with family, which could lead to other problems, but also it's, I thought the focus was going to be on depopulation, but it seems like it's repopulation or maintaining a population. That's just something that I'm opposed to.
Thank you. I think if you want to see the numbers of population, those are available on our dashboard and our population reports, which will demonstrate what was just said around the population staying relatively consistent over the last, I'm looking at Donisha, 2 years. It's been pretty close. Go ahead, Kevin.
All right, thank you very much. I think this item is absolutely crazy. If there's anything that the social media, the news outlet are give you some compliment, that is the Kilpatrick. And then right now, as far as I'm seeing, your favorite, your best of the best, the Kilpatrick is going down like a Titanic. So number one, I really don't understand the word because again, I am very uneducated. I do not have your PhD education. I don't really understand the word gender expansive youth. I don't really understand. As far as I know, I only know there's a penis, there's a vagina, nothing more, nothing less. So right now, I heard they are saying that you are putting somewhere between 12 years old and 24 years old. What does that mean when you put those population together? Rape, sexual assault, nonstop. Now, second is that you are putting someone with a penis, someone with a vagina.
Excuse me, sir. Just use genders if you have to.
I don't know. You said gender expensive or
Well,
whatever.
you can use male or female if you want to be limited, but that's fine.
Right, I'm using very polite words because the reason why I didn't use the D word, I didn't use the P word, is basically I'm respecting to this board. And I will continue to use the penis and the vagina. That is the word showing in high school textbook. And then if you have a problem with that word, go back to your high school and talk to your school board.
Thank you.
So when those people in the biological female in the bathroom and they are seeing all of the biological penis flying all around the bathroom, I think that is a problem. I'm concerned about the rape. I'm concerned about the sexual assault.
Thank you.
We are going to go to virtual public comment. Do we have any virtual public comment? Am I missing it? I apologize. Oh, yes. Okay. Let's start with call-in user number 10. Your number starts with 310. You may need to dial *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. Okay. Let's go to Tahita Shakur.
Hi, can y'all hear me?
Yes, please begin.
Hello, my name is Tahita Shakur, and I'm with the Youth Justice Coalition. I'm here to say that we should not rely on probation to come up with a plan for our young people. Time and time again, they have failed youth in our communities. They have a long history of abuse and neglect, a timeline of harm that spans decades, even centuries, much of which we may never fully know. That is unacceptable. I'm urging this commission to develop and push forward your own ideas, as you typically do, informed by community, rooted in care, and focused on real alternatives, not incarceration. The fact that probation is even considering moving girls in gender expensive youth only proves that they are not invested in young people or community-based programs. This move was made in secret, without transparency, and without the voices of those directly impacted. And let's be clear, probation is facing a $4.4 billion lawsuit for molestation, sexual assault, and violence. Why should we trust him to make any plans for our youth? It is also Black August, a time to honor and uplift those who are incarcerated, and to remember the long legacy of fighting for human rights led by the formerly and currently incarcerated. As George Jackson once said, settle your quarrels, come together, understand the reality of our situation, and understand that fascism is already here. We cannot keep leaving our youth's future in the hands of a system that profits from their pain. We have the power and responsibility to create something different, and it must start now. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go next to Jeff Hines. Welcome, Jeffrey. Can you hear me? You may need to unmute yourself on your computer or phone if you're calling in.
Hello?
Yes, that worked.
Okay, there
Thank
we
you.
go.
Please proceed.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey Hines, and I am here today to urge us as a community to come together and think of new alternatives. We are still using the same broken system that has proven time and time again that it does not work. It is time to be radical and think of new ways to keep our youth safe. There's no way that anybody could think that it is an intelligent move for us to trust the same people that have a $4.4 billion lawsuit and that is still open. There's no way that you could think that this is how rehabilitation happens and that this is what is best for our youth. All that's happening is you're re-traumatizing them. Families need to be kept in the loop. There's no way that a parent should not know where their child is going. And at the end of the day, it is upon you to make the decision to do what is difficult, and that's to do something different. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Jacob Jackson. Welcome, Jacob. I can't hear you yet, Jacob. If you can try to unmute yourself, maybe.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, that worked. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. All right.
Good morning. My name is Jacob Jackson. I'm here with the Youth Justice Coalition. Today I'm speaking about the decision to move young people to faraway facilities. This is more than just a move, it's isolation. I'm demanding that all young people be kept close to home. Many youth will be sent far from their families, making it harder for loved ones to visit or stay connected, even with the assisted transportation. I wanted you to think about this. How do you feel if you were moved without wanting to somewhere far away? Where are You're already facing a 750 to 1 youth to staff ratio. If there aren't enough staff to monitor and support young people nearby, how can you claim there would be enough resources when they're moved even farther away? Families are being left in the dark. Parents and loved ones aren't even told their children about to be moved to Kilpatrick Juvenile Hall. They often find out after it's already happened with no warning, no time to prepare, and no voice in decision. Community support will be cut off. Community-based organizations, the one that provide mentorship, education, healing, care, were not consulted. Moving youth far away makes it harder for these organizations to support them. Overcrowding does not make young people feel safer in the juvenile halls. We know that LA County facilities have a history of gladiator fights, being organized and allowing young people to get hurt. When we break these relationships, we fail our young people. We must do more to keep them connected to their families, communities, and support systems, not less. Keep youth close to home. Maintain the bonds that they give hope, that give them hope, and connections that help them heal. That's it.
Thank you, Jacob. We'll go next to Kay. Kay, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Okay, we're going to come back to you. Oh, actually, maybe that came through. Can you hear me now, Kay? Oh, I think this may be a connection issue because we can hear noise in the background, but I can't hear you speaking. So we're going to go to our next caller, and then we'll come back to you and try it again. We'll go to call-in user number 9. Your number starts with 323-331. You need to dial *6 on your phone to unmute. Please begin.
Hello.
Hello?
Okay. Hello, good morning. My name is Natalie Segura. I'm with the Youth Justice Coalition here today to speak upon the troubling reality that many families are facing. Families are being left in the dark as decisions are made about their children's futures without any fair warning or involvement. Imagine receiving the shocking news that your child has been moved to Kilpatrick Juvenile Hall. A decision made without your knowledge, without time to prepare, and without your voice being heard. How would that make you feel? This is more than just moving them, it's an act of isolation. Many of these young individuals will be sent far from their homes, making it challenging for their families to visit, support, and stay connected. The need for family support is much needed. This move was made in secret, showing probation's unwillingness to invest in real change. Probation is facing a $4.4 billion lawsuit for sexual assault and violence. Why should we trust them to plan for our youth futures? Let's provide community support systems. These organizations that provide mentorship, education, healing, and care were not consulted in this process. We are effectively cutting off the support that youth currently inside need. How can we expect positive outcomes when we dismantle the very support networks that foster growth and healing? Moving these youth to a new building does not make meaningful change. If the same abuse system continues, all we are doing is relocating the harm. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to call-in user number 13. Your number starts with 323. You need to dial *6. Call-in user number 13. You need to dial *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. Okay, we're going to go on to call-in user number 16. Your number starts with 8182.
In my motherfucking heart, no matter how much I love this boy, I know I need to get away from him. And once that shit keeps just replaying and replaying, I literally wake up every day and God keeps showing me and keep telling me and keep putting a reminder in my head and keep saying, this is why, this is why, this is why, this is why.
We're going to go ahead and mute your microphone. If you want to call in, we'll call you again. We're going now to call in user number 16. You're calling from 81. Actually, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say this. There may be folks that are watching on the YouTube stream who are trying to call in to give public comment. The YouTube stream sometimes has a slight delay. So if you are watching on the YouTube screen to listen to when we're calling you for public comment, you may not come up to speak at the right time. So if you could make sure you're listening on the WebEx, then we'll be able to unmute you and we'll go through them again. So we're going to go back to call-in user number 16. Is that right? Call-in user number 16. Your number starts with 8182.
Well, and I would love to be with that man too. But at the end of the motherfucking day, bitch, he's not my piece right now.
Okay, we're going to go on to the next caller, which is call-in user number 18. Your number starts with 8183. Please dial *6 to unmute yourself.
Good morning.
Yes, we can hear you. You can begin.
That this coalition, this commission has continued to press for transparency and change. Jeffrey Hines said it best: change is hard to do, but it's what is necessary. Follow the direction of the community that's pointing to full liberation. And I know it takes steps, but moving kids further away without informing is clearly not the steps. And like Sister Tahira Shakur said, we have an opportunity in Black August to lead in setting the example of prison, destroying the prison mentality that the only way for us to be healthy is to be locked up. We know better now, so let's do better now. Sunshine, smiles, music, movement, arts, and out, freedom. Thank you. Can't follow the probation advice. Not right now. Let's work together. Sooner Gale. Thank you for allowing us to share.
Thank you very much. We're going to go back to call-in user number 9, 32333. Okay. Do we have anybody else? Let's go back to Kay. Kay, you still have your hand up, and you're unmuted, and you can begin to speak now.
Hello?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Oh, hi. So I don't know if this is a right question to ask because I kind of was late to the meeting. I don't know if it was already discussed or asked. So I was wondering what would be of the kids that were waiting at Silmar to step down and were anticipating and behaving and, you know, kind of looking forward to going to the Camp Kilpatrick for the step down program. So what is going to be happening with those kids? Like, what are the other options that they're going to have since that's no longer a option?
Deputy Director Roman is going to answer that question after we finish public comment, which I think we have now gone through all of the public comments. Yes? Oh, Helen Eigenberg. Welcome, Helen. You'll be our last public commenter on this item.
To all of this. And it's just so disheartening. And I just keep thinking back to the motion that Supervisor Solis put forward in 2022, I believe, to decarcerate, depopulate girls and gender expansive youth. And Commissioner Canales brought it up this morning. We're making all these plans, we're doing all this, and we're not. What happened to the depopulation plan? Like, shame on us. Santa Clara, with the help of Judge Lucero, decarcerated the girls from there. I believe it's Santa Clara. we can do it. And I don't understand why we're just continuing and now moving them and shifting them to another place. And the other thing too, it's also been reported that more kids are going to be added to that lawsuit. Like, what are we doing? We can do so much better than this. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Director Roman. If you wanted to address the question about the step down.
Thank you. So the step down process already existed at Barry J. Nidoff. Not every youth that was prepared to step down to the community actually went to Campus Kilpatrick, so they had a process that was in place. Now that we have expanded to opening up some of our units, we have more internal step down units. So we have one that has a work program. As you are aware, we did put all of the Kilpatrick youth into Unit AB. All but one of those youth has stepped down to the community. So we moved some more of our youth that were prepared to be stage 6 through 8 over to that unit. So we are still continuing to do step down. We have caseworkers already there at Barry J. The exact process that Kilpatrick had already existed for Barry J. So we're just continuing to do that and step them down into the community.
Thank you. Commissioners, be mindful of the time and where we are on our agendas. Any questions or concerns? Commissioner Terry.
Two really quick. One, could we get a response to Mr. Bell's question? Because it did tie into what I was asking about staffing and their ability to veto or appeal the assignment. And it sounds like there is a policy in place we didn't know about.
The reference to first right of refusal?
Yeah.
So he's referencing the displacement that they got moved over because of the repairs, not because of the depopulation. Because we are going to be making that Campus Kilpatrick female population, there will be some changes that are made. The first right of refusal is him basically saying everybody be allowed to go back so that we could reassign and say you're not actually going to be here if they're not going to be there. So that's something that we would be doing with employee relations if there was going to be a change to that or if we were going to follow that process. That's through employee relations.
Okay. And second question, just going back to the education, I feel like there needs to be some sort of follow-up, and I'm trying to figure out what the right follow-up is. But given the number of high school age youth who are going to be going to Kilpatrick, which is different for that facility, and it seems like the space has maybe been worked out, but in terms of, for example, knowing right now how many returning teachers LACO has and how many substitutes there would be, because the girls are already going to be moving. That's already a big shock. They may have access to family visits at that time. Hopefully, that's a big shock. But then their education is going to be disrupted without any notice. And it just feels like there needs to be some thoughtful planning around what that's actually going to look like, starting with bare minimum, just knowing the numbers.
No problem. And I'd like to say, it's not that there's not thoughtful planning. I just haven't been part of that conversation with LACO, but we are constantly discussing the population. So
yeah, maybe a future agenda, I can bring it up then.
Given the importance of this subject, I'm sure that probation is anticipating being here next month. And now they have a flavor of our questioning and of the concerns of the community. So I was hoping we can just move on to a break. It is now 11:43. If we can return at 11:53. Thank you. Okay, commissioners, it is now 11:53. Let's not keep our audience waiting.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I was a little too just like.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Hey, welcome back. We are now going to move to item number 5. Sorry, we're a little out of order. Next up is item number 5, during which we will discuss and take possible action on probation's visitation policies and practices. As a reference, we have attached the probation department's visitation policies for the camps, halls, and secure U-Track. We have also attached visitation policies from the probation departments and some other probation departments and some visitation best practices as a reference. Also attached is a letter from OYCR to the chief regarding concerns and recommendations stemming from a recent observation of visitation at Los Padrinos. To begin, Policy Ad Hoc Committee Chair Tyreek Shipp and Wendy will share some background about the POC's interest and experience with facility visitations. Alyssa Hart is also here with us virtually to share or answer questions about OYCR's experience and recommendations. Commissioner Shipp, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Mundo. So yeah, with the Policy Ad Hoc Committee, we've been looking at, first we tried to identify some priorities, some areas. We thought about public comment, what we hear from the community. And two of the main things that came up was grievances and visitation. And as you've seen at the last one, we tried to do a presentation on grievances, but this time we did visitation just because in looking at visitation, we've seen that probation's SYTF policy is really best practices, right? And we thought about writing our own until we seen this, and it was like, shocking. But the issue that we had was implementation of policies as well. And around that same time that we were meeting, we also seen that a letter from OYCR about the visitation issues that was stated. And so this felt like a priority for us to hear more about probation's visitation policies, especially hearing from parents the issues that they have had with visitation. We tried to make it a priority for us as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Shipp, and thank you for your leadership on this committee and to the members of the committee. I agree with you that I really feel happy about the way this issue has come to us. I was sitting next to Commissioner Canales about 4 years ago. I don't even remember what the issue was, but she whispered to me, this is a community organizer's dream. Commissioner Canales and I are both community organizers by trade. And what she meant by that, I'm just going to put words in your mouth here with your permission, is that community organizers and advocates have the I think, very important work of lifting up the voice of the community, and in particular, people who are closest to the problem. And in this case, then, some of the community organizers are on the commission, and others are regular attendees at the commission and are able to communicate directly and in a way that is very easily listened to with parents and young people to hear the actual problems that are going forward. The other thing that has developed that took a little longer was that we also get feedback very directly and very honestly from staff of the probation department, probation officers, probation non-sworn officers, folks who are partners from other agencies and community-based organizations. And on this issue of visitation, there has been significant concerns brought up. So much so that Dr. Góngora and my colleague Belinda Mellado and I have gone to observation of Los Padrinos visitation to bear witness to what folks have talked about. And I'm very thankful that Elisa Hartz from the Office of Youth and Community Restoration, the ombudsperson, also attended visitation and then was able to comment on some of her observations and make recommendations in the letter that's attached to this agenda. I want to share from a broad perspective, and then Dr. Góngora is going to give some specific examples, that visitation is not just a legal right that young people have. It's not just a box to be checked off. Visitation and the strong relationships with family members is directly tied by research to better outcomes in reentry. What that means for me and for all of us in this community is public safety, and that young people who are able to maintain strong family ties while they are detained do better when they go home. And so visitation is something that needs to be a part of the culture and promoting visitation. What I understand and what this commission has talked about for many, many years is that there also is a concern about anyone coming into the facilities, whether it be because they're working there or providing services there or visiting, with bringing in contraband. And there needs to be a balance of safety and security to keep contraband out, but the support for visitation cannot be tampered by excuses about security that often don't have anything to do with security. And so I think that it's crucial that this body and the policy committee is taking on this issue, as well as the board and the probation department, find a way to protect absolutely against the introduction of contraband into facilities and also promote positive visitation. And I think you'll hear that some of the reasons that folks are turned away or feel excluded from visitation are things that are hard to connect to those safety and security reasons. There are some really specific examples of that, like on a 90-degree plus day, not allowing people to wear long shorts. I'm not talking about shorts that are in any way revealing. I'm talking about, long cargo shorts worn by a dad who wants to come into the facility to visit his kid. And there may be reasons today, or there may have been reasons 20 years ago why that was an issue, but those policies need to be updated to be able to promote the visitation that's required by law and that is supported by research. So I'm really excited to work collaboratively with the department and with the advocates and attorneys, and most importantly, the young people, to make sure that their families are able to see them in a way that is worthwhile. Dr. Góngora, would you like to add some of the specific observations that you've seen?
Absolutely. Thank you, Wendy. So as Wendy said, I got to go to visitation with my colleague Belinda Mellado on Sunday, August 11th. We just went for about half of the visitation. So some of the examples of what we saw there that day, I saw a number of parents and grandparents sent back and forth to their cars a number of times over dress code sorts of things. We did see somebody with the shorts issue that Wendy just mentioned. So like not being able to come in on a 90-degree day wearing shorts in the summer is tough. But a lot of those people that were sent back were able to work it out with something in their car and then be able to enter back in. But a lot of people that spoke with us told us about how they found it generally difficult to enter the facility, and that rules seem to change from week to week and between facilities, specifically around things like the dress code, but also about like some people are allowed in with their tattoos, others are not, and with nothing signifying like anything gang related. And that the differences in dress code seem to have to do with the way that similarly styled clothing fits differently on different bodies.
We did see a number of parents and grandparents turned away from visiting on Sunday, and that was just for the half of the day. We saw 7 parents and grandparents turned away. Some of those were for the dogs alerting. I'm not going to really go too much into that. That's a security concern, but let's talk about some of the others. There was a mom that showed up early and on time, and when she went up to ask to go in, she was told that her child's unit had been changed. And nobody called her to let her know. So it was no longer that child's visiting day, and she was not allowed into the facility. 3 other visiting family members were turned away, being told that they had arrived too late for the visit. And those people that spoke to us reflected some very serious concerns for their child's mental health, just in knowing that at some point they're going to have a call with their child. The child will understand that somebody actually did show up for them, and then to not be allowed in. You know, the parents express concerns about how their child would then feel or how they might act on the day that they find that out. That's a really tough situation to cope with. An overarching theme shared by many families, even those that were allowed in, and they took the time to talk with us, was that they described that either for they themselves or others that they had seen, they felt like they were treated with bias and with a lot of suspicion coming into the facility. So we're really hoping that through these observations, we can continue to hear the experiences and get down to some of the nitty-gritty of what's happening. And we really appreciate many of those family members who not only lifted up their concerns, but also are sharing and ready with solutions about what they think could make the visiting process better and make them feel more welcome to be a part of their child's rehabilitation.
Before I turn this over to Elisa, I'd also like to thank Commissioner Jackson, who is on a plane right now, which is why she's not here, but who also attended visitation on Saturday and was able to record some of her comments and share those with Dr. Gongora. And also I'd like to thank a number of the staff who, the probation officers and staff who I've interacted with at this visitation, who clearly do embody the spirit of appreciation of visitation and who are willing to be flexible with parents and help them to get in. That includes the reserve probation officers who volunteer on the weekends to help support visitation, given some of the staffing constraints, many of whom work very closely and respectfully and in a dignified way with the parents. I think what you will hear as you hear the committee go forward is some concerns about the consistency of that approach. So with that, unless Chairman Lowe, you had something else you were going to say, I'll ask Elisa to share her thoughts. Elisa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, great. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks very much for inviting me to join you today. As Wendy explained in her opening remarks, this is both an issue of youth rights, their legal rights, and also of youth healing and rehabilitation. And we know how important family engagement is, and having parents really be partners in youth healing it's not incidental, and it's not an empty right, but it is also a legal right. I spent 2 days. I spent the weekend at Los Padrinos. I was there for the full visiting time on both Saturday and Sunday. And my observations and findings were very similar to the prior speaker. There's issues both in terms of the policy itself and then the implementation of the policy. The policy, as has already been described, is especially around the dress code, is extremely complex, internally inconsistent, highly restrictive, and really makes it very hard for parents to comply. So I had a mom say, like, I'm really trying to comply, but I don't know what they want. If you kind of write down all the list of everything that you can't wear, it's hard to know what you can wear. You can't wear blue, you can't wear red, you can't wear graphic, but you also can't wear white. You can't wear things that are tight. You can't wear things that are short. You may or may not be able to wear skirts, but you can't wear shorts. So it's really, and I think as Wendy said, it seems like there was an accretion of these restrictions that, each individually may have been tied to some kind of safety and security concern, but really at this point, I think they wouldn't meet the Title 15 requirement that the limitations on visitation are you can only impose limitations that are necessary to maintain order and security, particularly because the parents just don't have notice of what they need to do to comply. There are specific examples in the letter that is attached to the agenda. I think just two other examples that I'll highlight that aren't repetitive of what the prior speaker said. One was a mother who had worked the prior day to earn enough money to take the bus from Lancaster to visit her child at Los Padrinos. And she had been turned away the prior week, but because of a dress code issue, she came back this week, and it took 5 hours on the bus to get there. She got to the facility. She had brought a t-shirt and leggings to put on over her clothing, so that because I think the prior time she had been turned away for that reason, but she was again turned away because the t-shirt she brought was white, just a plain white t-shirt, which I think is the most kind of basic t-shirt that is provided. And then there was a suggestion that even if she had met the dress code, that she might have been turned away for some piercings that she had. And there was also a young woman who had come directly from her job at a hospital she was wearing scrubs and Crocs. She was late. She had to run back to her car fortunately she had sneakers in the car. So she swapped out the Crocs for the sneakers, in this kind of professional hospital gear. And so, you're losing time, right? You're losing the time of visitation. I also observed parents running back and forth to their cars. There are lockers available right at the entrance, but there are no locks available. And so if people don't bring their own locks, then there's no way that they can leave their items there. And so they have to go back to their car. Elderly visitors have a difficult time walking back and forth. And then of course there's the precious time, they have very short period with their children. I was lucky to be accompanied by the LA County Probation Ombudsperson on both days, or their staff, and they were able in certain cases to kind of assist in getting resolving the issue and kind of getting the parents and legal guardians into the facility. But the minor understanding is that they are not able to be there at all times. But I think having someone who really has the goal of really supporting parents, and I think my concern about the implementation approach is that parents there was more concern about following these very complex and confusing rules than about supporting the parents to get in to visit the young people. And so that kind of shift in the kind of general framework, I think, of the visitation is really important. I also noted that there is so right now only parents and guardians can visit on the weekends, is my understanding. And there appears to be a department policy that only the court can authorize supportive adults to visit youth. So if you have, an older sibling, a sibling who's over 18, or a aunt or uncle, someone who's really your person and wants to come in. Currently, my understanding is that the only way that that's being permitted is if they have a court order. And that's not, the Title 15 allows the facility administrator to make those determinations. And in other jurisdictions, that's certainly something that facility administrators will do, usually in conjunction with the probation officer, who knows whether someone is genuinely a supportive adult for the young person. So I would encourage and I did in my letter, encourage the department to take another look at that particular issue, to really think about how we're supporting young people in the most meaningful and youth-centered way. I would, I also wanted to share that OICR, so the technical assistance arm of OICR actually has a dedicated family engagement specialist, Cole Lancaster, and we're prepared to be a thought partner with the POC, with the department, and really help kind of think about a meaningful, streamlined, and youth-centered policy. We also have access to national experts on visitation and national partner groups, you know, there are best practices both in the state and around the country that I think might be useful to consider as you're taking the opportunity, hopefully to kind of take another look at the visitation policies and start from a fresh slate would be my strong recommendation. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the letter or any other topics.
Thank you so much, Elisa, and thank you for the offer about the technical assistance. Also, I just wanted to let folks know that attached to the agenda is not just the letter from OICR, but also some policies on visitation from other jurisdictions that I think are very helpful, as well as national organizations' recommendations on policies and sort of overall culture around visitations that Elisa recommended for us. So there are a lot of resources attached to the agenda.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you, presenters. Commissioners, any questions, comments? Commissioner Kakani?
I'm just curious if probation responded to your letter. I know that I think the last line was, please provide any response to me no later than June 12th, 2025, so that I can include it. I didn't see a response, but not sure if you received a written response or any sort of engagement or interest in working with you to perhaps problem solve.
I did not get a response.
Commissioner Shipp?
Maybe this is probably another question, the same question, but for this context, is there some type of notification system or some type of policy that you already had in place that may not be getting used with that to notify parents about the changes in visitation or the implementation of visitation, or when their kid is transferred that there is a new visitation policy? Like, what is that procedure or policy that you have for that?
So the first thing I want to say is that I appreciate the feedback that we're receiving, because we also think that it's important for family engagement and for those things to occur. So thank you for the feedback. Some of the things that I read or some of the things that were shared today are not okay. We don't want to see parents turned away for something that we could potentially resolve, and we're open to those conversations. So thank you for the feedback and for being so transparent. In terms of the communication that occurs when major moves occur, such as you're leaving one facility going to another, we do an intake. So, you know, there's a phone call that says, hi, your youth has now arrived to campus Afterball. Let's talk about, you know, the rules for Afterball, and they get on the phone. When they move from one unit to the other, there's not a phone call that says that a youth moved from one unit to the other. And so that's one of the examples where I think the facility could have potentially attempted to accommodate, because that parent did not know that. I would venture to guess that it was probably more of a how do I accommodate that than a not wanting to accommodate it. But I wasn't there. But so when there are big moves from one facility to another, yes, there's an intake process where that communication occurs. For when the youth arrives, they also receive the phone call at intake, also from IDC. There's a letter that goes out to the parent informing them about visiting hours and all that. So there are communications that occur.
Commissioner Kakani?
I don't know if, who sits over the visitate? Is there a person? Is there a group of people who kind of create the visitation policy or create the fact that there are 4 different seemingly inconsistent policies that people are required to make sense of? Like who is the person who holds that responsibility, or the group of people, if there is one?
So we have also had some concerns about inconsistent policies. So we're now drafting one policy for all of institutions, which is taking a while to kind of put all those four documents together, times all the other policies that we have. So we have a policy unit that has gathered up all of our policies and is taking a look at what we need to merge together. There may be some places that have maybe something a little bit different because it's camp. And so it might be a little bit not, the kids are there longer. So there might be some things that we do a little bit differently there, but there is some consistency that can occur and should occur. And we're working with our policy unit to have that happen.
Yeah, I just want to add, Commissioner Kakani, thank you for that as well. We are also very frustrated with the inconsistency of the policy. It creates an inordinate amount of work for us every single day to fact check, and go back and look at these policies and determine what is still in place and what is no longer in place. So to Alyssa and OYCR, the letter that she sent, I apologize, I did not see that letter. I would love to work with her and find out more about what she's seen as best practice that we can implement in our facilities as well. We need the support and we need the help on that.
Commissioner Ship.
This will be my last one, I promise. But around implementation, right? Like when you write these whenever you guys come out with the new policy, will this be like a full-blown training that you have your staff go through? Will this just be an email? Will it be a pamphlet that you hand them? Because also an issue that I've seen personally is that the implementation can be different among shifts, right? Like you can say, you can leave it very vague, and that leaves it to the interpretation of the officers. And so I would say, I'm asking, will that be a training? Will that be a pamphlet? How do you pass down new policies back to the staff?
It depends. I wouldn't say that this is a full-on training for every juvenile hall staff to go through, because not every juvenile hall staff is working at the front for visitation. I think the officers that are assigned to the entry process are the ones that need to be properly trained. The supervisors who make decisions about whether or not somebody can enter the facility, the directors, they probably need more intense training. The training that our line staff that are within the units, they're supervising the visit. So they definitely need training around supervision for visitation, but decisions at entry, whoever's working that front should be participating in the training, along with anybody that we have, such as we mentioned CSSO or other people that are there making decisions. We all need to be on the same page.
One of the things we're trying to do to help with that is with the screening protocols, just the daily workflow that comes into the facilities is, I think you're aware that we have classification, safety and security specialists. Not enough yet. We have about 41 active safety and security specialists that are part-time, but we are starting to tap into their experience to be, for lack of a better term, an ambassador in the lobby to kind of help bring some reasonableness to some disputes. And if it can't be resolved at that level, then to make sure that we engage with the leadership of the facility to make the final call on that. We don't want to have this hard line. We want to make sure that we built in some discretion and some reasonableness to things that really make sense.
No, perfect. And with that, we would love to oversee that. So would I be able to make a motion right now?
I was going to make sure that there are no more comments or questions. And then I wanted the opportunity to make one comment. No, I want to be the last word.
All right. Just a quick question also around implementation. Just as an example, if there were going to be a change to the rules around not being able to wear a basic white tee, how long does something like that take to actually get implemented? And then will there be any follow-up even with the facility where these specific examples where these incidents occurred? Will there be any immediate follow-up?
So you may know I do not have oversight of LP at this moment, so I hadn't seen the letter that came in. I had a conversation with the superintendents of both LP as well as Barry J yesterday to make sure that we are on the exact same page about what to do when a parent comes later on towards the end of visiting and what to do about some of these things. So will there be follow-up? Yes, I've already started it. The other question, I'm sorry, was?
Just to give an example, I'm just trying to get a sense of if there was going to be a change to, okay, now you can wear a basic white tee. How long does a change like that take to make?
Well, for the consistency, right, that's one thing. We want to make sure we're all on the same page. So it depends on where it's coming from. If it's something that we can make on site for that one specific location that the superintendent has a discretion to make, something like that could be faster. But we're trying to be universal across all policies. If it's not appropriate for one location, then it's not going to be appropriate for any. So that might be a little bit longer for all of us to discuss why certain things are in place. I think it was mentioned something may be around for 20 years. I wasn't here when they wrote it 20 years ago. So trying to figure out what was the intent behind it before we change it. I did look over some of the attachments that were on this item and saw that some of the things that they have are similar in terms of what is not allowed to be worn, what is not allowed to be brought into the facility. So I think it's a good starting point. So unfortunately, I can't say it'll take me a week. I think it's going to be some active discussions that need to occur that have already started. And we'll need to make some executive decisions about how to disseminate the information.
Hey, just one suggestion, maybe having some extra T-shirts or some extra shoes in the lobby that people can use so they don't have to walk back and forth, kind of like at a restaurant that requires a coat. That might help until we get all these policies in. Yeah, so Commissioner Schick.
So I'm good now. I can make the motion now.
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. So I'd like to make a motion to instruct POC staff to conduct an observation of visitation at probation's juvenile facilities, interview families, youth, probation staff, and advocates about their visitation experiences and recommendation, as well as work with OICR and conduct additional research about policies and practices in other jurisdictions to learn about the best practices. And then lastly, to submit a report outlining these findings and recommendations about the probation visitation policies and procedures to the POC's policy ad hoc committee for approval to bring back before the full Probation Oversight Commission.
Commissioners, take a good look at that. Do we have any additions that we can think of?
Do they?
Oh, and we do need a second.
I second. But is there a due date on that? Are we going to implement a time frame?
Good question.
I guess the question is of POC staff and I mean, whether you're seeking the support of also commissioners, kind of like what type of timeline do you think would be appropriate to actually engage in meaningful conversations with staff, with folks trying to visit?
I'm looking, and Dr. Gongora is approaching the podium. I can tell you that we feel a sense of urgency about this. And we also have been doing this, not in the explicit way that it states in the motion, but informally for a while and talked to lots of people. So we're not starting from zero. When do we think we could come back?
So in line with what Wendy is saying, we do feel a sense of urgency and we're thinking that we should conduct these inspections throughout the month of September and that we would really ask all of our commissioners and of course POC staff to take a rotation. We know it's really difficult to coordinate these sorts of efforts on such a short-term notice, but I think to get a report ready quickly, 1 month of observations, 4 weekends, and then turn a report around. And of course, I'll be asking for your notes very quickly after you make your observations.
And I think my intention is that the report would look very much like a list of observations and then a set of recommendations that we would take advantage of Elisa's offer and work with OICR to make those recommendations. So I think I'm hearing it's the October POC meeting.
Okay, so with that, Wendy, do we have any written or public live comment?
Do we have written? I don't believe we had any written public comment on this item. If anyone would like to make public comment in the room. Oh, and yes, thank you. The motion that Commissioner Shipp read is attached to the agenda, so you can read it in its entirety there. And Kevin, you're welcome to begin.
Thank you. About the visitation, yes, I was born in the probation facility, so yes, I'm very familiar about the visitation. For one thing, I heard from Dr. Gongora's report, several parents were turned down by the canine dog Yeah. So I would like to advocate for a specific room, in the construction, because I see several other countries are using the visitation system where you have a big room and then it is separated by a big giant glasses. So that means just like basically the equivalent when you are going to a bank, like you are in front of the glass, you're talking to a bank, you can talk, you can see each other, but you guys are separated by the glass right there. I think that is a really good method of doing, because we are aware that a lot of people doing drugs and then the canine dog always smell them. So if we have a specific room designated for that, and then we have a probation officer supervision inside of that room, so your parents can visit their kids, can having fun, can talk to their kids, and then our probation officer making sure nothing goes inside of the glass, nothing coming out of the glass, so you can also prevent the drug trafficking inside, outside of the facility. And then I think it is a solution that to solve the problem of the canine dog smell the parents. It also saved the problem about a drug coming in, drug coming out, because you have a supervision, you have a glass, so nothing goes in and out. And hopefully that, and then we can use the male canine dog, the female canine dog, and the gender expensive canine dog. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello, I'm a parent. My name is Virginia Romero. I'm a parent of a 14-year-old juvenile girl in Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. Coming here today just to listen to the changes and also to voice my concerns. My daughter has been incarcerated 3 times since December till now, and I haven't had issues on visiting her. I mean, the policy changes all the time. I've been told that the policy changes day by day. And from what I was told, that there's no way that they could let us know before we get there as parents, before we are denied as visits. So when I first went in, they said gang-related tattoos had to be covered. Other tattoos are okay to show. But just to be safe, I made sure I wear long sleeves because I do have tattoos. I make sure I wear long sleeves so I'm able to get in with no problems and no concerns. But as the weather started getting hotter, I had called and I had several people call the staff to answer the phone, and they've transferred me to other staff to see what the dress code is before I go. It's always different, and they say no shorts, no this and that, but in the policy and then the rules and regulations that they have right there, they allow you to wear shorts. And when you call, they do allow you to wear long shorts or capris, something decent, of course. But on the safe side, I went in again with the way I do, all covered up like I was told, and I was going to ask the security and people that are there when you're entering what the policy was, because I know it changes. So the lady that I've been dealing with since December, she's the one that told me that you have to be completely, no tattoos shown at all. Everything has to be covered, only long pants. I go into the visit for my daughter that day, which is July 12th, and my daughter's like, I don't know why they're tripping on you, Mom, because there's a lady next to you with tattoos on her face, on her neck. She had some on her arms, and she was wearing a t-shirt, and she wasn't covered up at all. And I had addressed that issue right before I walked in. I had asked, well, if there's tattoos on the face and the neck and stuff, how do you guys cover those, and how are they able to come in? They said by masks and other things. So, okay, but these people weren't. So that day I came home, I went and I called the officer of the day.
Sorry to have to cut you off, but the time has expired. I will tell you, I'm so happy that you're here. We actively are recruiting parents to come here, and I know that it's challenging for parents to come here for a number of reasons. The commissioners may have questions for you after we finish public comment, and you're also, of course, welcome to comment during general public comment and provide the rest of your remarks in writing. But thank you very much for
Okay,
being
well,
here.
I gotta go anyways. That's why I was trying to rough it up real quick. But bottom line is they need to get their policy together. They can't change every week, and they pick and choose who they choose, who could come in. And I've been told by staff, by other juveniles that have been incarcerated in there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's the worst part of my job to have to cut people off giving public comment. Thanks, Antonia.
Good afternoon, I believe. My name is Antonia, and I'm coming on behalf of ARC. I do want to really uplift the voice of that mother who shared her own personal experience. I've also heard a lot of other people's experience with similar rejections, and so I'm here just to say it's insane. It's a travesty that it's easier to get into Berghain than it is to get into LP or one of these facilities. We need to make these places more accessible for families, specifically because of the way it helps with anti-recidivism for youth specifically. That being said, I do understand Mundo's suggestion for some clothes piles, but already we've seen heightened security in regards to bringing in more dogs, more security scanners from the Board of Supervisors. And so I'd be worried that, okay, well, now we see a pile of clothes and guess what's in there? And that would harm the parents instead of help them. So I think there needs to be a more comprehensive and systematic way of addressing clothing violations or whatever it is, or clothing in general, across all of the facilities, it's the same thing. Everyone can wear white or they can't, right? And not penalize parents for wanting to be with their kids, for wanting a hug, for wanting to say hi, for wanting to celebrate their birthdays, or whatever it is that they're coming to do. So please address this and listen to Commissioner Tyreek's suggestion for a motion to investigate this problem, because it's a big problem. And like I said, it should not be this hard for families to connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonia. Hi, Jonathan.
Yes, hi, how are you all? It's always good seeing you all. Appreciate you. I actually, again, I'm not here to complain at all. That's not my thing. However, I am here and I do want to challenge the K-9. I'm there every week. I've been there every weekend and been cleared even last week, week prior, etc. But however, on July 13th, approximately 2:15, we could run back the tape on the VCR. I was alerted. And I respectfully wanted to speak to a supervisor or someone in some type of higher authority about the situation. What does he smell? And a couple minutes later, after this dog alerted me, the same dog urinated right there all over the floor in the juvenile hall. But you're telling me it's trained. And I respectfully wanted to speak to a supervisor in a higher authority to find out what can we do. That person in the higher authority said this dog makes the decisions. And I said, the dog that urinates on the floor? It's a disrespect to the positions that are even there. You understand? And I'm not here on no foolishness. And again, I say that to say I've been there every week prior. And I just genuinely want to know, and I want to talk to probation, because you and I know a dog carries no jurisdiction in the court of law. What does he smell? We're going back to the 1600s, 1800s, so let's just say that. Because I'm, again, as a parent, as a guardian, I'm not here for no foolishness. And whatever contraband that's going in there, it's going in there for people that's been hired or contracted by the city. You understand? So again, I'm only there and have been there for my people, or no other foolishness. And I just want to address who does carry higher authority than someone on a leash.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Jonathan. We have some, I don't see anybody else in the room. We have some online callers. We'll start with caller number 19. Your number starts with 3234. You may have to dial *6 to unmute yourself. You're unmuted. Call-in user number 19. Your number starts with 323. Okay, we're going to go on to call-in user number 15. Your number starts with 4243. Call-in user number 15. Please unmute yourself. You may need to dial *6.
Hello?
Yes, you. Please, please. It sounds like you maybe have something else playing the meeting in the background, your computer or phone. If you could mute that for you, that would be great. There's just an echo.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, okay. I wanted to speak on item number 4. So we demand the immediate release of the girls and gender expansive youth in these juvenile facilities. These young people are being moved from facility to facility without warning, tearing them from little stability and education that they do have. This is not rehabilitation, it's trauma on repeat. And now the county is sending girls to Los Padrinos, a facility where 30 officers were indicted for staging 69 gladiator fights among more than 140 youth in 2023. This comes on the heels of a $4 billion settlement over 6,800 sexual abuse claims in county run foster care and juvenile facilities dating back decades. Girls in the systems are survive sexual abuse, 31% compared to 7% of boys. And those are abused are 5 times more likely to reoffend. We reject this cycle of harm. We call for immediate release of the girls and gender expansion youth, invest into community programs like Youth Justice Coalition and Street Cred, Levels Fellowship, offering education, paid work, and mentorship, and to end unsafe transfers and abusive practices. Free the girls, free the gender expansion youth, give them dignity, safety, and a real chance to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. We'll go next to Dr. Muhammad. Dr. Muhammad, we welcome your public comment and we'll unmute you. Can you hear me?
Yes, good
Okay.
afternoon.
Thank you. We'll set the timer and you're welcome to begin.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Isranullah Mohammed. I am the author of the Bureau Care to Custody Cemetery Pipeline and the BDC-3A Pipeline Prevention Model. I submitted this model, which is copyrighted and submitted to the public record on April 10, 2025. Research showing that family connection and visitation improves youth outcomes has been available for decades, including during decades when youth in LA County facilities were being sexually abused, displaced from families, and denied those connections. Yet only in 2025, specifically after April 10, after the April 10 submission of the Bureau Care to Custody Cemetery Framework, has family navigation become part of the Commission's public narrative. The timing, language, and structure directly align with the Bureau Care to Custody Cemetery Pipeline Framework and the BDC-3A Pipeline Prevention Model, yet without attribution or acknowledgement or accommodation. This raises questions about delayed adoption of long-established best practices and the silent appropriation of community-developed solutions. The same ethical concern applies to grievance reform. I have filed multiple grievances within the department, all of which were denied. Some of the very individuals who denied those grievances are now in positions to sign, authorize, and oversee multi-million-dollar contracts to operationalize the Bureau Care to Custody Cemetery Pipeline. This represents both exploitation and professional displacement, leveraging clinician-developed intellectual property while excluding the author from implementation, oversight, or attribution. Adopting known best practices decades late after extensive harm without public acknowledgement of their source is not reform, it is repackaging. It erodes public trust, distorts the original models, and risks perpetuating the same systems of inequity under a new banner. I urge this commission to ensure attribution, integrity, and direct consultation with framework authors as a standard of ethical governance.
Thank you. And we have one more caller, and that's Tawhida Shakur.
Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, you can begin.
Okay. Moving girls in gender expansive youth does not solve anything if the same abuse if the same abusive system still remains, if corruption, abuse, and illegal practices continue. Relocation just moves the harm, it doesn't end it. Further continues, more cover ups, more money will have to be spent by probation. You're not moving for change, you're moving to cover, moving them away from their families, support systems, and resources. This move was made in secret, showing probation's unwillingness to invest in real change. And remember, probation is facing a $4.4 billion lawsuit for molestation, sexual assault, and violence. Why should we trust you guys with anything? Thank you.
No more public comment?
Commissioners, do we have any questions or further comments regarding the motion?
Just something that came up during the public comment that I just wanted to ask about as it relates to the canine policy. I think many of us have heard from a number of folks who have gone to visits who've been turned away because the canines had alerted staff. I'm just, what are the canines trained to smell?
There's a number of items, Commissioner, that I could provide to you after the meeting or by email.
Okay.
But there are, it's residue. It's cannabis. There's a gunpowder, ammunition, residue, et cetera, medications. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's a number of things, and it is an alert. And that's what where we hold that. We just leave it at the alert, and we have to log it, and then we have to turn the person away.
So then person gets sniffed out, I don't know what the correct phrase is, and then they immediately get turned away, or do they get searched, or do they get, what happens?
There's not a subsequent search related to that, but they are pulled aside, and they speak with the officer of the day from LP to document the contact, and that is also logged in Interquest. Interquest log is the contract canine agency that we utilize.
Okay.
And then we place that into a spreadsheet for tracking of the number of occurrences that someone may incur on these alerts.
Okay, and then is there any data on like whether these dogs are 100% accurate on like whether that sniffing indicate, or I mean like marijuana is legal in, or cannabis is legal in the state of California. So like whether a dog sniffs cannabis or cannabis residue on someone feels, I don't know, like something that should be investigated further as opposed to just being an automatic reason to turn someone away.
Yeah, all these dogs are validated and certified through their training certification that's provided to us, and through the company that we've hired, that we could also provide that to you as well.
Okay, I guess validated and certified doesn't mean
I see
foolproof,
yeah.
but there's no other investigation, I don't know, like search, anything. If a parent is like, I don't know what's on me, search me, is that an option that's built into the protocol that you've created?
We have not gone to that point yet of conducting a search. We'd also have to have privacy to conduct that, and bring in our officers to conduct that search as well.
So someone gets turned away, and then what? How they can come back the next week?
24 hours.
Okay.
It is one of those things that we discussed earlier about trying to be consistent and inconsistent issues that come up and arise, but it is what we have right now in place. And
I've never heard
deal
that.
With,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
We have been working with our partner agencies that are there that are having concerns with some of their employees that are getting turned away. With DOID, we met recently on a call to discuss a number of their concerns and issues. So we recognize that it is definitely an added layer of security that sometimes leads to some inconvenience. But at this point right now, we are erring on the side of safety for the youth and safety for the staff.
I've never heard of someone being told that they can come back the next day.
Yes.
Every time I've heard that someone has been banned or turned away for at least 2 weeks. So I'm curious if you have something in writing that you give folks to say, you can come back tomorrow to visit your child.
Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing who was turned away for more than one day, because that's not what we're doing. It's 24 hours.
Okay. Oh, I think Sarah has
Yes.
something to add.
Sarah is
I have spoken with multiple parents, especially one on Sunday specifically, who was very upset. The dog's alerted on his shoes. I wasn't there to see it. I was sitting outside. And he came out very upset and said that he had been told he was banned for 2 weeks from visiting. And he had offered to change shoes if another set of shoes could be provided to him. But he was not told about 24 hours. He specifically told us 2 weeks.
Thank you. If you have the name and could share with me,
I don't
we'll follow up with the parent.
I don't have the name of that dad, but I've also heard that on other occasions from other parents as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that should not be happening.
And can you provide the documentation after this meeting in terms of what's given to people who are turned away, just so that they know what they're, especially if folks are saying that, you know, kids are moved from units, so if they show up on the wrong day, then visits can't be accommodated. So how does it work that you can come back the next day if it's not your child's visiting day? Are you saying that probation makes an accommodation for that person to come back the next day?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a 24-hour rule that we put in place. This is the first I've heard of the parents being told that they're banned for 2 weeks. So I'll definitely look into it. That's not what our intention is, or what we should be doing.
You have a list of people that are turned away though, right? You said that it's logged somewhere?
Correct, but I don't know that it's included the parents yet. I'm gonna have to look into that.
If it's what? I'm
What
sorry.
I'm speaking to on the list are those employees who come in to work in the facility.
Oh, you don't have anything in terms of parents who are turned away?
I'm not sure. I have to check on that.
Yeah, it might be a good place to start
Yeah.
to see if it's worth following up with them to see what their experience has been.
Commissioner Kakani, I would guess that the department would have a list because as the procedure is, a parent arrives to the visitation, there are 2 probation officers sitting at a table. They ask them who is the child they are there to see. And so then they're passing through from the outside. And actually this weekend, because it was very hot outside, they were allowing parents to sit inside of the lobby to wait for their time to enter. So they were being cleared through multiple stations to go inside. And so there should be a list that is logging the name of the youth, and then the parents were providing like identification as to who they were.
Sorry, and I guess we don't have the information to provide the answers. I do just have one last comment question.
Please.
I know, Ms. Roman, you shared that there's a policy group that's working on creating a new policy as it relates to visitation. Do they have any of this information, like that was relayed by Ms. Hartz in this letter from OICR? What's been presented today? Like, is this stuff that they're already aware of?
It's the policy unit, so I don't know that they have received the feedback. But as we're talking about creating work groups and having those discussions, I can share it myself with them. Yes.
Commissioner Canales.
Yeah, I just want to, I've never been in agreement with the whole dog sniffing thing. You know, on a weekend basis, the dog is there all day, especially because there is data that shows that on individuals, there's a 50 to 80%, accuracy rate. So that's a high ballpark, 50-50 chance. And then there's environmental factors that can also throw the dog off, from cleaning supplies to food or anything. And then to just terminate somebody's visit on that day without any type of follow-up, an offer, maybe even an offer to a pat down or something, especially for family members that struggle to get there and have traveled for hours or taken the day off work, things like that, to just solely rely on a dog when you have data showing there's a 50 to 80% inaccuracy rate, even for the most highly trained dogs. And we don't even know where these dogs are really being trained, being that, you consulted with somebody and contracted with these people. But I think that if we can maybe, as you are revisiting the policies, even other facilities might randomly have a dog show up, but don't have it there, every day, all day during visiting, as in I've seen in Los Padrinos.
Commissioner Meredith.
I'm not sure on the statistics of that. I do know that dogs that are certified by law enforcement have a very good accuracy rate that the courts have ruled that actually creates probable cause for a search, on number one. Number two is we have to keep in mind that, yes, we want the kids to have visitation with their families, But we just had charges filed against a mother who smuggled drugs into a facility. So that's not uncommon in itself either. So there is a balance, and we have to have the policy committee come up with some good balance on that.
Thank you. Commissioner Ship.
Can we also somehow connect because we have our policy ad hoc committee, could we get some type of contact with this policy unit who is working on this policy, just so we can meet in the middle or understand where they are coming from, and they can understand where we're coming from? Because I feel like that would be important as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Canales.
Yes, I just think it's a dangerous thing for us as commissioners to quote one case of something that happened when of family members.
Yes.
Well, then let's just quote them all of probation of everybody. So then don't let nobody in the institutions.
So on the motion of Commissioner Sip, seconded by, may I have a second? Canales, I'm sorry. You are voting to accept the attached motion as written, as presented, amended. I will now call the roll, don't you?
Yes.
Wait, this is yours.
We are voting to approve the motion that is attached to the agenda regarding the instructing the POC staff to produce a report regarding recommendations around visitation. I did hear an amendment, which was to add that it would be presented at the October POC meeting. Is that acceptable to Commissioners Ship and Canales? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I will call the roll. Please vote yes, no, or abstain. Commissioner Canales?
Yes.
Commissioner Kakani?
Yes.
Commissioner Meredith? Commissioner Ship? Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
Chair Mundo?
Yes.
So with Commissioners Harris, Jackson, and Prater absent, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, now we'll move to agenda item number 7. I am extremely pleased to say that all the items we requested have been received. I recommend that we table this agenda item, and I thank the department for their responsiveness this month. This month, I will make a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Ship. Okay, that moves us to item number 8, which is matters.
We have to take public comment and vote. I think we need to take public comment on tabling the item.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Is there any
That was my
public comment?
No written public comment. Do we have any in-person or virtual public comment on tabling the motion? That will move forward to general public comment.
Okay, so item 8 is for matters not posted on the agenda to discuss or to place on a future meeting agenda for action. Commissioners, do you have any announcements or items you would like placed on a future agenda?
I would just like to quickly share that I had the great opportunity to attend LACO's graduation last week. Seems like a long time ago. Deputy Director Roman was there as well and gave lovely remarks. And my sincere congratulations to the young people who were able to complete their high school graduation. This was young folks who are in the camps and Dorothy Kirby Center. And it was a beautiful ceremony, and I really appreciate the LACO teachers who have supported that education and look forward to hearing about them graduating with their associate's degrees. And thank you to Deputy Director Roman for the words that you gave of support. It was really a youth family-focused event at Walt Disney Hall. It was beautiful. And I know it actually was, the date was changed, and I hope that next year, I've talked to the staff about this, we can encourage the commissioners to attend and be supportive of the families. It was difficult this year with the date change, but I really think it's a great event and something celebratory that often it was a day of all good news, which is uncommon in our work. And I'm really proud of the young people and their accomplishments.
Thank you. Okay. Good. We'll move to agenda item number 9 is an invitation for members of the public to address the commission on items not on the agenda. Wendy, please facilitate public comment for us.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We will, if you want to make public comment online, please use the little raise your hand function or dial *3 on your phone, and we'll start with in-person public comment. Go ahead, Kevin.
All right, thank you very much. So I did hear several comments, either from the member of the public, either from the commissioners, that seems like everybody against the canine dog. Number one, I do believe that the canine dog has been used internationally for law enforcement, for crime suppression purposes. I have a hard time to believe that, you know, the margin of error is ridiculously high. I do not believe that the court, the judge, will continue to allow the use of canine if the margin of error is too high. I think that is just a criminal justice 101. Number two, since all of our, not all, since so many of the members of the public and the commissioner are trying to get rid of the canine, they don't like the canine, I want to ask our president that what are some alternative solutions if every commissioners want to get rid of the canine? How do we prevent inspecting the drugs? Because as far as I know right now, there's not a physical devices that can detect the drug. I mean, I know there are special equipment that can detect the metal, can detect the weapon, but I'm not aware certain like physical electronic devices can actually, you know, detect the drugs. So I just want to know, I just want to make sure our president is informed that when you are not happy with the canine, let's have a replacement option. Let's have an alternative option, because the goal is the same. Regardless, you have a canine or without a canine, the goal is the same, is to eliminate the drug from coming in. So as long as you can accomplish the goal without the drug coming inside of the facility, I don't really care about your gender expensive, whatever canine, I don't really care.
Do we have any online public comment? Letitia Williams, we'll go ahead and unmute you.
Yes, I spoke earlier in regarding the deputies that were sent home on leave, but I wanted to know if it was possible for the commission to maybe dig deeper into how we were displaced from our positions and illegally displaced, forced to medically retire from a position that we can physically work, and forced to use our own time because we were unable to physically restrain minors in juvenile hall, you know, to accommodate the staffing issues. But I feel like it really needs to be addressed or investigated, you know, because as far as my own, I can only speak on myself. Exhausted all avenues as far as reporting to the EEOC, filing CPOEs, and because everything, every investigation that I file, it goes back to the department. They're aligned with the department, so it's a bias there. The department can't investigate the department. So something else needs to be done to show what the department or what the chief is doing as far as getting rid of half the department because we cannot physically work juvenile halls. It's illegal and it needs to be further investigated.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I think that's the end of public comment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Agenda item 10, adjournment of the regular meeting of August 14, 2025. Thank you all for joining us and sharing your comments. As a quick reminder, be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel at LA County POC. To receive reminders about upcoming meetings, visit our website at poclacounty.gov to subscribe to our emailing list. It is now 1:02. Can I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Kakani, and seconded by Commissioner Canales. Commissioners, please unmute yourself and vote with the voice vote.
Aye.
Aye.